Yo, 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 what's up? We are back with the Custodes Dreds one more time. I love these things. I really, really like this color scheme. I think it looks epic on camera. I'm so happy with how these are turning out. We've got tonight a little bit of work to do on these guys prior to highlighting a butt ton of gold. What I'd like to do this evening is paint all of the eye lenses, all of the gems, and there's a few here and there just scattered around. So while we're using the same progression of colors, may as well do all of those things together. Then we'll look at highlighting the purple. That's pretty much just a one-stage highlight on all of that. It's had a lot of work with the airbrush, as you can see. And then it's all about that gold. It's all about that gold. No, today is not glow time. Glow time will not be streamed. Not this time round, because glow time this time will be done as a YouTube video, which ideally is going up on Friday. So stay tuned for that. Intermediate level OSL. So we've just done a video on YouTube about the bases for these, how to make custom resin bases, for which the Telemon was the subject. We would talk through all the painting, all of the crafting to get a very flat base. Crooked Grin, cheers very much for that host, and Des for yours earlier as well. And turn it into a base that looks like a resin base, similar to the ones that the rest of these guys are on. Obviously you can see there's a lot of themes that kind of carry across. And in that guide we showed you a very, very simple OSL. It's up here. And this Friday, the YouTube video will be turning all of these back vents that you can see here into something that emits a blue glow. I'll be showing you how to do that, how to ensure there you go, that your points of light, your references, are in the right pot. All those sorts of things will be happening on that video, so that's going to be a really, really good one. But tonight, we're starting off, like I said, with painting all of our eye lenses and painting any gemstones. So there's a couple on here. You can see there's one like right down here on the, for want of a better phrase, dick guard. The Telemon's got a gargantuan one on his bejazzle. There's a tiny gem up here. There's one here. And I believe that's kind of it on the Sword and Shield boys, the Galatas Dreds. On the Achilles, they are missing one of those. SJ! Thank you very much, bro. Jay, you understand how happy I was to come home to find out there was... Oh, nice. Nice. I don't eat things like that anymore, but... Oh, fucking hell. They know how to make some desserts, those guys. So yeah, it's just this little... doodad there and that one, so a lot less on those. And then, like I said, on the Telemon, he's got this great big whopping gemstone right down there. It's going to do a lot of gems. We're going to do a lot of eye lenses, and then we're going to highlight our purple. So in the chat tonight, we've got those swords look awesome. If only there was a guide on how to do them. That guide is up on Patreon. So if you want to paint power swords like a pro, and I don't mean like the eBay pro that we've all seen. We've all seen those eBay pro painted things, you know. Not like that, but like this. Full guide on Patreon. So you've got Viking, Moon Tyrannid, Dares, Sergeant Major 22, SJ, Tilts, Battlechode, Liang, Akuno, Hiko, Kazgan. How you guys all doing tonight? Remember, exclamation point vote. Go and get your votes in for how you'd like to see the Tyrannid army we're raffling off in only 4 weeks. It is 4 weeks today. No, it's 3 weeks today. 3 weeks from now, you could be winning a Tyrannid army, or a Sisters of Battle army, or one of many other prizes, one of which may or may not be a fully painted army. Who knows? Who knows? Akuno, if you sell these, they will definitely still not be eBay Pro painted. RGE Wolf getting that vote command down. Scrublord, the Johnsonator. How's it going? I'm doing well, Battlechode. I'm doing well. I'm glad you are as well. So the whole vote command is for this. These are the 5 colour schemes that have been chosen. We're running this till next Sunday, giving us a week to decide on basing schemes to go with this. We've got High Fleet Stabilo, the black and white scheme by Scriv Paints, blue and orange, blue mottling and bone, and red and blue, i.e. High Fleet Behemoth. The current results put blue and bone right in there at the front. It's not a bad scheme. I do like it a lot. I've been thinking of ways to get this scheme done and keep it interesting without extremely heavy uses of washes, without things like a dry brush and so on. And I've got some really good ideas for it. So we're preparing for that one. My favourite, which was this one, is in second place. I really, really like this scheme. The just off-white, the black, then the sort of very visceral red, I'm a big fan of. High Fleet Stabilo has jumped from 4th to 3rd place, and is in 3rd place by only 3 votes, but it's only 3 votes from 2nd. Not bad. Not bad. Well done, Des. Getting that campaign down. No coconut crab nids. I don't like it. I don't like the coconut crab scheme. I don't. I think it's one of those things. It's like Bohemian Rhapsody, right? What a great song. I've heard it so many times, I can't stand listening to it anymore. If that comes on a list of tunes that I play on YouTube or whatever, I'll skip it. Despite it being one of the best written songs ever. I just can't, not anymore. And I think I've seen the coconut crab too many times for me to want to paint it. Because, as with anything, especially miniature painting related, somebody does one thing and it's cool and everybody else emulates it or imitates it or just straight up rips it off. And so suddenly one person did coconut crab and it's everywhere. Absolutely everywhere. I just can't deal with it. So we've left the top of each of these unglued for now. We've left the heads unglued, just blue tacked on. So we can take each of the heads and get to these eye lenses nice and easy. These are done in 20 different styles. Not heard that. Not heard that. There's a couple of cover bands that I like, and who I've subscribed to on YouTube and stuff. And I listen to their songs quite a lot because they'll play like the hits from a load of other bands that I liked because they're the obvious songs to cover. And they do really good jobs of it as well. A lot of it is like female vocal led. From a group of girls that have got like really, really good pipes and can absolutely hold a tune like nobody's business. So it's very nice to listen to. And even like their version of it, I'm like, no, not this one. Ooh, behave. So yeah, get your campaigning done. You have till Sunday, a week from today. And then we also then need to start thinking about how we're basing these. Now, I want you to bear in mind, when it comes to basing, it's going to have to be a basing scheme that can go on something that is already Actually, thinking about we're going to paint the gems, we should leave these off for a bit. There's already got texture down on it because we have, of course, got the Forge World Ripper Swarms for our Tyranid list. And there's not a lot you can do with their base. Their base is kind of pre-molded. So when it comes to doing things like lava worlds and all that sort of stuff, we're kind of limited with it. Just because there's not a lot we can do on their bases. And whilst they're a very small part of the army, it's just, you know, not ideal. I see we've got the Akuno that wants to give nothing but stupid suggestions today. I mean, that's one way we could go. Equally, I could set fire to them, and you know, it would be just as good at the end, right? You put in Discord, cheers, mate. I might or might not listen to that. like I said, I skip that at the best of times, and that sounds like the worst of times, so... Right, we've got different styled heads. Now, I'm assuming that it doesn't matter which head goes on which dread. But just in case it does, let us know, and we'll keep them separate for now. So there's our heads there. Release our eye lenses painted. The Telemon, to get everything assembled, I had to glue all of this assembly, but I can get to that eye lens pretty handily. It's quite a large lens in comparison to the rest of them. So, Master Mouse, how you doing? I thought the Ventress thing was like the Black Library Day, and that was it. Bad trip. How's it going, bro? Yeah, that's what I figured, mate. Gives it a little bit of variation in a very unnoticeable way, admittedly. Because you either have this wreath, which is gold, painted gold, or these little finials, I guess is a proper word for it, which is gold, painted gold. So... I'm doing well, dude. I'm doing well. Went for a nice walk today. It's been very sunny. So... did just shy of 4.5 miles, but it's all off-road. So Jackie's with me at the moment. She's actually upstairs chilling, watching a movie while I stream. And so we walked down past the river. Which is a nice little countryside walk through some fields and all that. It's nice. So I did that this morning. This is Caribbean Blue, by the way. Sorry, Canterbrick Blue from Scale 75. What do you make for Easter lunch? Well, Easter lunch was just sandwiches. And I had some leftover sort of piri-piri style chicken that I'd made. With some nice salad leaves and a red pepper on sourdough bread, which is my own bread. But Easter dinner was a roast. And the only reason it was that way around is because we went for a walk in the morning. By the time we got back, it was 12:30. If we'd then done a roast, that would have been 3 o'clock at best. And we were both kind of hungry after the wander, so... You love the gold? Cheers, Arnold. These haven't had highlights on yet. These will be slightly different by the time we're done. Still having the same kind of luster, because I think that's very important. In an army that is predominantly gold, you need to have that interest still there. It can't be bland. So there's 2 highlights to do on each of them. One is more of a kind of volumetric highlight where we'll be taking into account armor plate shapes and things like that. So, as an example, on the big lad here, we'll be doing highlights that come down onto this armor panel rather than it just being an edge highlight. And then the second will be more of an edge highlight with a little volumetric work on it. We've also got things like these to do in black and a few of the small details. But I've kept as much of it gold as possible because Custodes kind of do everything out of Auramite. And I like that. I like the fact that extremely precious metal is just their base thing. Basil Sam says his friendly local gaming store says a few left. They're around, just got to hunt if you want one. Nice. It's in the future, but a huge issue to the web store, which meant more orders were placed and models available, so they're trying to catch up the backlog. Okay, nice. Look, wrong when not gold. I disagree entirely. Yeah, I don't think that's correct at all. I think that's an opinion, and that definitely isn't a fact. And I know that because I've painted white Custodes before, and I've got an enormous white Custodes army to be painting. Probably starting at the end of the month. We're waiting on a few bits to still be delivered from Forge World, which currently haven't shown up. But yeah, there's a lot to be said for gold Custodes. You know, they look very official and so on. But the different like subsects, whatever they're called, I know it's Solar Watch is one, and Dread hosted another. Is it Shield Hosts? Is that what they're called? I think it's a totally legit way to paint them, and certainly by the time you've seen mine done in white, the next commission for Custodes that I've got, I think that'll change anyone's mind that if it's not gold, it's not right. You almost never see a white army, and you absolutely almost never see a white army that is a high detail army. You see a lot of white armies that are like an off-white all over, but it's flat panel power armor and things like that, and that's fine. But you really don't see a lot of very high detail white done because it is not fun to paint. It's not difficult to paint. We did a video how to paint white. Simple. No airbrush. 3 colors. Super easy. That's up on YouTube. If you guys are struggling painting white, definitely check it out. But to do white en masse just takes time. It takes a lot of time. Black and gold shadow keepers. Yes. Yeah, definitely. They did one with the red shoulder pads as well. Because I can definitely get down with that. I think that's a solid scheme. As you see, not glued the swords in just yet. I'm going to take those out to be able to get to all the highlights and so on. This one suffered a tiny bit of battle damage, but that's just... we can repair that easily enough when we do the gold highlights back in. Cool beans. Yeah, just those 3 gems on those boys and 2 on these boys. Painting horse took a lot of time, I'll bet. So does Ace. Cheers, bro. Done all the spears same way, as you can see. Look at that modulation between the brightest yellow and that kind of almost sine wave curve as it goes down the blade there. All that, exactly how to do that is on Patreon. This is the same method as the sword. The only difference is you don't have to mask off top and bottom of the blade. So it's simpler, it's easy. Super easy. D&D cancelled, so I'm here for the night. Oh, unlucky, bro. Jackie's D&D group on Monday. She was in 2, one on Thursday, one on Monday. Her Thursday one got cancelled because the DM basically got fed up of running it during a lockdown. Like for him, D&D was just a very social thing. Everyone crowds around their house. There's fucking candy or snacks or whatever absolutely everywhere. And then they all play D&D. And doing it over like Roll20 and stuff just wasn't his bag. Especially as a DM, like he just wasn't having fun. So that got canned. And her Monday night group, which is the other group that she was in, is due to somebody's working pattern now going to be once every 2 weeks. So unlucky. Snake, how you doing, bud? Des, Pit of Adventures. He's not a Dream player, so daft not to. I wish they'd given you a helmeted option for him. I really do. He did not have a good face. Yeah, just looked a little bulldogish. Couldn't get over that. Yours will be helmeted, yeah, for sure. So we've got quite a few D&D players here. When are you moving to Tamworth, dude? Did Voodoo book a lesson? I don't think I've seen anything. Let me have a look at my calendar. Right, this is filling up a little bit. And yes, on Monday. So we got 2 on Monday. Voodoo at 10 and you at 3:30. I do need to know what Graham wants to learn in that hour because we can't do the usual... hour and a half. We can't do the usual curriculum because that's lesson 1 of a number. So, unless that's him that's messaged me on Discord... Possible, but unlikely. Definitely not. No, so I need you to get him to message me and tell me what he actually wants to learn. Dragulari, good day, my heart. I really good at playing D&D in person. Scored 3 library and Dreadnoughts yesterday for 60 US. Damn, man. Nice. Hawkish-like features around the face. I don't know. I can't remember. I read the original Ultramarine trilogy some time back. Like really some time back. And I remember them being good, but I don't remember them. I remember reading them and thinking, yep, this guy's a badass. Really like the story behind this character. This is super cool. But that was about it. Isn't there a lot of stuff about the Codex Astartes in them? I seem to remember that being something that definitely pops up quite a lot, like the inner workings of the Codex and, you know, how he's constantly amazed that Lord Guilliman has been able to write this book that can just be applied to pretty much any battlefield and so on. Yeah, that's what I thought. Nice, mate. Good stuff. Rather than getting USB extension cables, like one of the things I need to look at is my own cable management. I was kind of bemoaning this earlier on before the stream. I need to tidy all of these cables and get them all like trunked in and things like that because it's doing my head in, the fucking mess that we've got all over the place behind monitors and stuff. But I'm waiting till after we do the studio redesign for it. But I'm thinking maybe it's just an idea to, instead of getting a USB extension cord for stuff, maybe get USB hub that you can route everything to. I probably wouldn't for video, so you might still need a cable for that, but maybe for other things, that's a possibility. Right, let's do the big boy. I love these things. Gigantic dreadnoughts, absolutely a win in my book. 100% a win. Yeah, definitely don't go cheap. You need it to ensure that the bit rate going through is still absolutely up there and like no lag. But there's certainly a few options out there. Moon, I don't get anything cheap for the studio because it's an investment in the longevity of the stream and the quality of the stream. Alright, there's his Vajazzle. Always freaks me out when they have like gigantic, look at my penis kind of decorations. Like all the Gravis boys. Great big junk decoration. Des, by the way, for your lesson at 3:30, please have, I'm assuming we're painting Ultramarines, that's what you want to learn. Yeah, I know you started another army, but I can't remember what you said it was now. It was more Marines, I remember that at least. But I'm assuming we're going to be using Ultramarines as the colour scheme that we're learning how to paint, yeah? Nice. Death in Jest. Cheers for the follow. There are Miss White Scars. Which would you prefer? Yeah, Moon, like, bear in mind, I did say, probably wouldn't put video through it, for a start. Secondly, if I was going to do that for anything like video, I'd get a really good one that didn't have any like packet loss or loss of strength and all that sort of jazz. So, I think White Scars would be more useful. Okay. So, have you got an Assault Intercessor? Because these are the best things to learn on. You're Brian. Keep going. Thought you might have. Have you got Celestra Grey? Have you got White Ink? Have you got Administratum Grey? These are the things that you will need. Rookie! What up, brother? Somebody else that also has some Custodes on the go right now. They're looking pretty. They are looking pretty. They're not quite as pretty as these, I don't think. But they're good. Awesome, mate. Get all that ready for tomorrow. Prime your miniature black. I'll see you at 3:30. Danny, you got yours in for the 26th. Let's have a quick check up. Make sure that's come through. Awesome sauce. Alright, we're all good. All good. Custode Throwdown. It's not really a competition though, is it? Right, eye lenses. So we painted the whole thing with our initial colour. I've taken some of our Signar Blue highlight, mixed that in with our Canterbrick Blue. And then what you want to do now on this second highlight is paint around 80% of that lens, leaving, ideally, a nice sort of ring around the bottom of this colour. So make sure there's a nice darker shadow underneath it from all angles. Working fairly slowly through our progressions for this. So it doesn't matter if you, when you're doing it, don't quite nail that, but it will look a lot better if you do. So make sure you're using a brush with a good point. Doesn't need to be a tiny brush. We're using a size 1 for this. We'll be using a size 1 for even the tiniest highlights on these. But just leave a little of that darker ring around. you go. So first set of 3 done. Pearl Jam, how you doing, dude? You have no Fridays free at my usual times. Had to go late Monday. It is what it is, man. Like, I encourage people to book their lessons as soon as they can, so that they can make sure they've got a slot that suits them. This is the other reason why we didn't just expand the students to like 10 slots and things. You know, there's very limited time that I have to do these lessons. Don't want people not able to book. Stu, thank you for the host, man. I'm only here for dry brushing and coloured rim bases. Well, I'm glad you're here for both of those 2 things. And if you hold your breath, I will get to them soon, I promise. Pro Jam, thank you for the host. So what's everybody else done this Easter? Has anyone done like Easter egg hunts and stuff like that for family or kids or whatever? Has anyone just done one themselves? They've like gone out late last night with a bottle of brandy or something and chucked eggs all around the garden, then gone out today hungover, not remembering where they were, to try and find them. Moon, no slots. We put one up and it went up on, I want to say Thursday, almost certainly Thursday. And there's always going to be a advert in Patreon channel before any other channel, because I know there are people in that Patreon channel that want to upgrade their membership. And as they've already been supporting the channel, it's only fair that they get their first shot. So obviously, if you want to be in with a chance of bagging the lessons next time one goes up, then consider becoming a Patreon. You can join for as little as £2 a month on a supporter pass, all the way up to £10 a month for the video viewer, where you'll get video guides every 2 weeks, written guides every week, and so on. But enough about the ad reel, because that always sounds shit, you know. But yeah, it always goes up there first, and Des clocked it, left it an hour. Nobody else had responded, so he jumped in on that. They always go quick. Like twice, maybe 3 times we put them up. Well, 3 times counting the original one. Big old mushroom, cheers for the 5. Yep, no Administratum Grey. Wow. You won't need it for the next couple of weeks. But definitely pick some of that up. It's a really, really good, light, but neutral grey. And the neutrality is the important part from it. So, definitely got to have that. Couldn't find any blue tack, so I went to secure my Vitrix helms. I just did a carved double-sided tape to fit properly around sprues. Fair. Reason you couldn't find any blue tack is because I have bought it all. There's easily a kilo of blue tack here. It is darker than Celestra, yes. It's what we'll be using for recess shading. Doing Easter egg, the missus tomorrow night, her birthday Tuesday, because second lockdown birthday is shitty. Yeah, it is, but considering there's something like one person born every 6 seconds or something, she definitely wasn't the only one. And whilst it sucks and all that, it's not the worst thing. Yeah. Well, Tilts, you snooze, you lose. I've been telling everyone, shot glasses and blue tack for God knows how long. You've got a blue badge, which means you've been a subscriber for I want to say 6 months. Maybe 6 months. And that means at that point, you've had 5 months to buy blue tack before I bought that. Ross876, cheers for the follow. Yeah, I bought half of that gigantic blob of blue tack just before we did the Necronathon. Alright, so you had 3 months then. You had 3 months. Before Necronathon 2, we boosted our supply of blue tack by buying out all of the blue tack of the world, clearly. Also, in very gutting news, I still have not heard back from Twitch about my partnership application. And we're 3 weeks away from streaming for 2 years. So, come on! I just need it before the stream! Just want to give people 2-year badges. Daniel Finn 711. Cheers for that follow, bro. Welcome. I know it took them 7 weeks. I put my partnership in. I think it's 5 weeks ago today. So hopefully, within the next 3 weeks. Blue tack is for everything, to be honest, dude. So ordinarily, I mount miniatures to bases and then on a shot glass for painting, because that way you're holding something that isn't the miniature. With these guys, because they're very large and they're very heavy, they've got a lowish center of gravity because of these resin bases, but it's not that low. I don't want them on a shot glass because they're very likely to fall. But certainly, blue tack is useful for pretty much anything you want, because all of their heads were blue tacked on. You can see the blue tack there. Now they're blue tacked onto these shot glasses, so I can do things like eye lenses and stuff. Oh, cheers, dude. I'm glad you're liking them. We've done a lot of Custodes. And we've got even more to come past these that will be painted white. But between now and then, we've got some, what do you call them? Deathwing Terminators today. We've got 4 Night Armigers to do. That's another commission. That's for Viking in the chat. So yeah. Lots of cool shit coming up. I use bottle tops with woodland scenic sticky glue. Fair. I've just found blue tack is one of the easiest things to use for it because it's super versatile. Like, I wouldn't glue those heads to something, for instance, other than the tiniest dab of paperclip. Tiniest dab of super glue on the paperclip I use to mount them on to get the spray and stuff done. So. Brilliant. Right, next up, we're taking some Lothern blue. It's one of my favourite blues, and GW knocked it out of the park with this paint, I'll tell you. This is really, really good. It's bright without being like super desaturated. It's just a really, really good sky blue. Now, this time for the eye lenses, you need to highlight basically the front 2/3. So what we want is to have, if you imagine that I'm wearing the helmet and it comes around like this, so just in front of my face, and the eyes lenses are directly in front of where my eyes would be. Now I appreciate these are dreadnoughts, which means that somewhere in here is a sarcophagus with a extremely mangled custodians, so it's not really the case. But it still matters because they're anthropomorphized. They're given personality, A, by their shape, and B, by the fact that, like any other like warrior in the game, it has some degree of like movement and like combat prowess. So what we need to do is ensure that it still has human-like mannerisms, because regardless of how we paint it, it's going to be portrayed that way, it's going to be looked at that way. So on a set of eye lenses, even on a dreadnought, you need to have the eye lenses, and they'd go from about here to about here, alright? So my eyes would be towards the front of that, but not right at the front of that. So I need the light part of these lenses to be right in front of my pupils, essentially. So what we need to do with this highlight is just start bringing the like point of attention towards the front of the lens. That is also the lore reason they have heads. Yes. That's why your regular dreadnoughts have those sort of sarcophaguses with something that would appear to be a head. Obviously, it's a very sunken head because the shoulders extend above the head, but you've always got a sarcophagus with a vision slit, or like your Redemptors have got that kind of bulky area in the middle of it. Your Leviathans have a head. All the Contemptor Dreads, Mortis Dreads, all that shit have a head. It makes it a little bit more at ease for your troopers and certainly members of the sort of Joe public that might be there. It also strikes fear into the heart of your enemies more, because instead of being faced by basically a robot, it's not, but basically something that doesn't have a personality. It's the personification of the Emperor of Mankind come to beat the fuck out of you. There's all of those reasons to have these things there. So with our eye lenses, we want to do, like I said, the front sort of 2/3. Leaving plenty of room. I just want to thin this paint a little more. Just a touch. Help it just flow just a little easier off the brush. We want to leave plenty of room at the bottom. Like that. Okay, so we're starting to get that nice bit of progression from dark lens to a light lens. And the next lens that we're going to do, we are using some sickly skin mixed into this, so it becomes a very bright highlight. Very bright highlight. Pearl Jam, like if I use these Custodes, I'd very possibly place nationally like an Armies on Parade. I almost don't feel it's fair to enter, to be honest. These are Contemptor-sized heads. Below you, only if they did it in reverse order. But that's because these are for Contemptor Dreadnoughts. This is a Contemptor Galatus, for instance. The Marine Dreadnoughts definitely have more of a Marine helmet vibe. But they're the same sort of size. They're not far off. I've just realised there's, of course, little gems on these helmets. So we'll go back to the start with our gem mix in a sec. And we'll smash those out before we move on to anything else. And obviously, if you wanted to do glowing lenses with this, then you could, but we haven't done glowing lenses on anything in this force, and so it would look very out of place to suddenly be on a dreadnought. It's not even on the other dreadnought that we've done. Mensa Nurse! Hello, matey, how are you? Good afternoon to yourself. Happy Easter, all that jazz. Okay. So those eye lenses looking a little bit peaky. So got one more highlight pass to do on those, remember. We're not done yet. So going back to that base colour. And this is why whenever you do any kind of progressive blend, and you should always blend progressively. Like, very rarely would I ever just like open a bottle and then thin that paint and just use that paint. Oh, there's 2 gems. It's that and that. That's weird. Okay. Yeah, always progressively blend. Whenever you're going from one highlight up to another highlight, or a base color up to a highlight, take some of that highlight and mix it into your base color, just so it flows through a little bit more smoothly. Without any real effort, it's just going to make your mini look better, because everything will be less jarring. And of course, if you're going for a jarring effect, then it will be super pronounced. So instead of it being like a gradual step change up through highlights anyway, it will be much more than that. So that bit about you to place nationally with Custodes, which really makes them very nice. No. We were talking about armies on parade. To be honest, I could take Custodes to a tournament and probably do reasonably well. Custodes are good in 9th, where speed and durability are kind of king to win the primary mission. Custodes have speed on all of their bikes. Their entire army has objectives secured, which means even a shield captain on a bike, so a unit of 1 that's easy to hide, easy to make untargetable, tough as fuck if he's targeted, can just go and take objectives off people. So with the right list, Custodes are, in fact, a very, very capable army. Right now, can they go toe-to-toe with things like your Death Guard, your Drug Elves, and all of the flavors of Space Marine? They've got a reasonable shot in any matchup. However, if your opponent gets a little bit luckier than normal and spikes up at the same time that you spike down, then you'll just lose squads. There's a lot more weapons now that are becoming flat 3, D3 plus 3. I don't know if anyone's seen that. The new Cognis las cannons, Cognis auto cannons, have basically the chicken walkers have had the stat sheet leaked, and their las cannons do D3 plus 3 damage, 2 shots, assault. So that's made those significantly good. Much more dependable damage output on that than you would have had in the previous incarnation of the Mechanicus Codex, where it would have been D6. Anything that's flat D6 you can't depend upon. Because when you really, really, really need it, it might happen, but it's probably not going to. Right, this isn't really wet blending because there's a little bit of drying time in between, but equally with these little gems, contrast is more important than a smooth blend. It's so small you're not going to get the nuance behind a smooth blend when you're looking at it. So it's just more important to have those brighter colours being worked up in there, and don't go crazy over trying to blend it out. I don't think proper retroactive fixed on most anti-tank guns like regular las cannons. I can absolutely guarantee you there is fuck all chance a regular las cannon is going to be made assault for a start. And I genuinely don't mind a version of the gun that is made to be more accurate. That's the whole Cognis thing. I don't mind that also manifesting as doing more damage, because if you think about things from a logical standpoint, it should regular las cannon should definitely be D3 minus 3 damage. Yeah, 100%. Because fuck those Space Marines and their las cannons, right? But there's no no reason I don't think why something that is more accurate shouldn't be better at targeting the weaker elements of its prey to do more damage with a hit. That makes a lot of sense to me. God, there's little gems on these fuckers as well. So, I'm kind of okay with it. We're going to see a lot of Admech players. Because Admech was strong through some of 8th. Specifically, once they got their transport, the plane, the dogs, all of these things really, really did push them hard in 8th. In 9th, they are the biggest firepower threat that you will see on the table. Nothing outshoots an Admech army at all. Played correctly with the right buffs in the right places, nothing will outshoot it. And I've got friends on WTC teams that are testing armies for durability to ensure it can survive like some heavy shooting and get around the table by just running it at Admech and letting the Admech try and blow it off the table. So one of the only things that they found that can take the damage so far is Baby Knight spam. Because a lot of the Admech stuff's wounding it on 5s, essentially. And you get a lot of strength 6 guns. You get a lot of mortal wound output from it, but you almost don't want to use the strat and then pile a load of guns into a single armiger. A little bit of a feels bad for the operating Admech player there. You say we'll see a lot of whatever comes next. I know what you mean. Codex creep's a thing. It will always be a thing. I'm not seeing a lot of people running out to buy Codex Drukhari. I think if you play Drukhari, you've got a really solid book. And especially if you played a balanced Drukhari list where it wasn't single sub-faction. They didn't use all the counts on tunes. They do. It became heavy 6 instead of heavy 4. Got to use these little dots. But yeah, Drukhari, bollocks. If you played Coven, then most of your stuff isn't great. Racks aren't bad at holding objectives because racks are still tough and they will always still be tough. Prophets of Flesh obviously isn't as good as it used to be. Dark Technomancer's got written into the Codex and is very good because Dark Technomancer's triggers on hit rolls of 1, not wound rolls of 1 for your kind of overheat style gets hot weaponry. And so you take a load of things with like ossifactors and whatever the Kronos gun is called, I can never remember it. And therefore you don't have a roll to hit, you always overcharge your guns, and you do significant amounts of damage to people. But Dark Eldar now need to be Cabal and Witches. I disagree that Admech has a weakness with fast board control, but I'll get to that in a second as to why. Remind me if I forget. But yeah, because those units are inherently weak, your Cabal and your Witches, which are now the standout units, standout play styles in the Codex, not units. Standout units are things like your Succubus. Your Succubus is a fucking murder machine now. And Venoms will always be one of the best units in that book. A lot of people don't know how to play with that because they're fragile. And the average 40k gamer, I feel, doesn't do well with fragile elements to their army because they don't think ahead far enough. You don't go into your turn going, right, I'm going to do this in my turn, then my opponent's going to do this in his turn. They just think, oh, I can do this. And obviously the really good 40k players not only think about what you're going to do in your turn and what your opponent's going to do in their turn, but you also have something planned for after they've fallen for whatever you've baited them into. You've then got something to deal with whatever they've tried to deal with your unit. So you're thinking 2 steps ahead. But yeah, things like your Cabal and your Cult, I'm basically waiting for there to be a good tournament with a win by someone that does know their stuff when it comes to Eldar. Think someone like Sean Naden, Gaz Jones, Rude, Steinbeck, Nick Nanavati. You know, one of those people. I'm waiting for them to win a tournament, stamp all over people with this list that they brought out that's like seemingly out of nowhere. And then everyone will get on the Dark Eldar bandwagon. But right now, there's a load of players sat there going, I don't know what I'm doing. Mark is still going to play Talos. Like, I know that because I speak to him. He's like, I'm going to make them work, Jay. I'm going to make them work. You know, I'm going to do it. I'm going to prove that it still works. And then it can sit on my shelf till 10th edition. That's his direct quote. Which is why I didn't include him in that list. He's a very good friend, and he's one of the best Eldar players, I'd say, in the world. But he's fucking stubborn. Fucking stubborn. Dark Reed Talos with a fist are solid. Which one's the Dark Reed one? I've yet to have the book in my hands to get everything settled into my brain, unfortunately. And with no tournaments right now where I'm learning about it, it just doesn't sit in. I can't remember who I was talking to, but I said to somebody recently that if it's a thing I've read off the computer screen, I'm probably not going to remember it. Whereas if it's something I've read because it's a book in my hands, then I'll probably be okay. But back to AdMech, and AdMech being a little slower than they need to be a significant threat in 9th. I couldn't disagree with that more. Certainly AdMech flyers, the bombers, are very good. They can't hold objectives, so they can't have you out with the primary. But there's a lot of secondaries that they can help you out with. Engage, obviously, being one of them. The dogs are super fast. Super fast. And you're going to use those to great effect to get yourself the primary. Electro priests and stuff, I'm expecting come the Codex to be nothing like they are at the moment. Simply because Games Workshop has, over this edition, started to remove a lot of 3-up invulnerable saves. And they are definitely not going to keep a 2-up invulnerable save when stood on an objective. I'd bet money on that. I can't see that being a holdover. However, because they're removing some of the durability from it, they may give it a buff somewhere else. But specifically, out of Stygies 8 drills, you deploy the drills on the board. You use your strat to move them forward. So that goes 9. You then... Does it go 9? It might not go 9, but it definitely goes forward. You then disembark within 3, so that's maybe 12. You move 6. That means you've got a significantly likely first turn charge with them. You can get pretty much anywhere you need to on the board with those in one go. And that is fucking money. Because if that's the case, if you've managed to do that and you've got first turn, your opponent has nothing about that. They have to absolutely think about, well, I have to screen this. I have to sacrifice something, which unfortunately means they're on an objective and they've got a 2-up invulnerable save, or I have to put something there that's so tough they can't kill it, or completely remove myself from that flank. And because you're then dictating to your opponent with literally just 2 units what their entire army is about to do, it's very powerful. And if people fall for the trap, then congrats. You've not only destroyed a probably key unit in their force, but you've also got your highly mobile boys across the field into a good position. They're also going to tend to take a lot of firepower, especially that 2-up invul, to chew through before your opponent can start focusing on the rest of your army. Dog's balls are cheap, but going from T3 wounds 3 to T4 wounds 2. To be honest, I hope Preachers stick a 4++ base, and the strat still works. It's handling stuff like Cataphrons and basic guys sometimes. Yeah, you're right. The strat's great on a lot of things, but if they said you get plus to your invulnerable save to a maximum of, that would be fine. That would be totally fine. Frankly, I'm of the opinion with my knights that if I can't have a 3++, neither can anybody else. Comradson, how you doing? The dogs changing their profile down to 2 wounds is a big change. That's a significant nerf, I feel, because having 3 wounds made them durable despite the fact they were T3. Because T3 is terrible. You're going to get wounded on 2s quite a lot at a time. But having that 3 wounds, it's a really annoying breakpoint. I think Custodes are the only army in the game that should have a 3++. And I really hope, actually, that they don't get +1 to their save. I hope they get, like, I don't know, Aquilon Storm Shield or something. And it doesn't give you +1 to your armor save, because that suddenly becomes very difficult to shift. But instead just gives you a 3++. Because if you have the new style Storm Shield on your Custodian Guard, and they're in cover, you're suddenly rocking a 2-up save down to a 1-up save down to a 0-up save with, let's assume it's fully the new Storm Shield, and therefore goes to a 4+ save, not a 3+ save on the invulnerable. To go from 0 to hit the invul, you're looking at -4. So when you shoot it with a multi-melter, it still gets the same save that it would have when it took its armor save or invuln save. You have to shoot it with volcano lances to get it to take its actual invulnerable if it's in cover. So that's a tough one to keep balanced. It requires a little bit of thought. Knights shouldn't necessarily have OBSEC. It would make my life easier. It really would. I've said this a few times. I'd love it if we had OBSEC, but we don't need it. Because we have our own version of OBSEC, which is that I am standing all over this point, and if you come near me, I'll intervene and I'll beat the fuck out of you. That's our version of OBSEC. Because CTU keeps shields the same, but then giving the transhuman like inner circle rather than +1 invul. God, I'd hate that. I'd hate that. They're T5, and you can still only wound them on a 4+. Like, most of the time it's going to be 5+s, but even your big guns are just absolutely useless. Yeah, that's an argument that gets thrown around a lot. Is it meant to be the coin? Can I just call you coin? And if that was the case, and bear in mind, I am a knight player predominantly. That's what I'm known for. That's one of my favourite things to play. If you had a Castellan, so the Dominus class knight, this dude right here, I could understand how they'd say, start the game, counts as 10 models for objective secured, And then once it's wounded down to half its wounds, it counts as 5. And once it's wounded down to 1 to 6 wounds, Jason, cheers for that sub, dude. 3 months now. New badge for you. Once it's wounded down to its lowest bracket, it counts as 3 models. Then you've got your like Custodes class, your regular everyday knight. So you go 7 wounds at the start, then 3, then nothing. Because when it's down to only a couple of wounds left, how much of a threat is it? You know, would you feel more safe with your unit of Marines or your unit of Orcs, whatever? Yo! Cheers for that host, bro. Love it. Let's get the host train going. Exclamation point host if you're not sure how to. It really does help out streamers, like I promise you. It basically, Twitch starts to promote you itself just by you using the host. It's crazy. Helps me out a lot. Right, last bit of highlighting on the eyes. So we were talking about this earlier on. We've got a lens that goes from basically here, in relation to a normal person's head, to here, in relation to a normal person's head. Now, we've painted the last highlight sort of towards the front 2/3 of the eye. So basically along the same amount of space as my actual eyeball. What we're going to do now is paint the final highlight directly in front of where my pupils would be. So if the end of the lens is here, we're coming back from that a little bit. If you don't, on any helmet, doesn't matter what it is, but especially on something large, because that lighter point is taken by your audience as where the thing is looking. Spleen! Thank you, bro. Your miniature, your dreadnought, your space marine, your whatever the fuck it might be, will look cross-eyed. You don't want that. You don't want that at all. So what we do with this, like we did with our first highlight, we're working about 80% of the area we were just painting. But we're going to start just here, leaving a little of that previous highlight right at the front. I want to stay completely inside that line. So for this, you do need a brush with a fine point. Again, I'm using a size 1 normal brush from Winsor & Newton because you're going to get that beautiful point. Just requires a steady hand. Bam, perfect eye lens. Perfect eye lens. Yeah. When you're looking straight on from the front, he doesn't look cross-eyed. It looks like he's looking directly at you. Lost a night or two in 8th. Yeah, it was versus fists or hands during the 3-minute trial phase, but still. I've never lost 2 knights in 1 turn. I have come close. Come very, very close. But I don't play like most knight players. Now, that's not me throwing shade at you. Please don't take that as it being that way. I play very conservatively with my knights. To the point where I've had people scratching their heads going, what the fuck is going on? But, like I said, I've come uncomfortably close to losing 2 knights. Blood Angels players, where you're forced to kind of bunch up a little bit to stop some bullshit from things like Forlorn Fury. You know you're going to get hit by a captain, and you know he's going to swing twice, except now he can't. You know, this is good. Big J Davis, thank you, bro. Thank you. Big love, man. Yeah, you know you're going to take the hit from like a Smash Captain coming in strong, or that charge from a big unit of Death Company with some hammers and things. You know, it's definitely still on the cards to lose that. What happened to the fight last rules? If they charge you to ignore the fight last, it depends very much on the wording And honestly, the best thing to do is just to go to the back of the rulebook and take a look at the rare rules interactions bit. If I fight first because I've charged and I have been inflicted with a fight last, what do? And please, I very rarely give this organization shit at all, but this is definitely something where they're wrong. Please don't follow the Tabletop Titans guide, which is basically Bridger saying, well, you fight first, and that tells you to fight last, but then you have another source of fight first, so you have two you have two, and it has one, so you trump it, so you fight first. That's not the way it fucking works. Rules like that don't stack. So please don't do that. Just go to the back of the book, read it, and away you go. Because there's a difference between fight last, as in this model cannot fight until all other eligible units have done so, and some of the other rules that aren't written quite the same way. So, the Silent King will not let you fight until everything else has fought. So you can't be... You're not an eligible target to be activated. That's the thing, right? Until everything else. So you can't even use an interrupt to pick it because it's not an eligible target. That's the difference between his ability and some of the others. Like Armor of Russ, for instance, has the same thing. I think it's a psychic power. I can't remember who bought it. It's like a fight last thing. And that doesn't work the same way because it's written in an older publication. The rule is ever so slightly different. So there's different things in there. Death Gargoyle Relic specifically says don't count as charging. Yes, that's right. So for him, the Smelly Flamer Man, you charge, but you don't count as charging, which means that you're eligible to be picked to fight, so you can interrupt after your opponent has fought to then fight with that unit. If you need it to fight, because it doesn't get the fight first because it hasn't charged, despite the fact that it's charged, but it is still an eligible target to be picked to fight because the rules say it isn't an ineligible target until after everything else has fought. It just doesn't count as charging. So that's where some of the differences keep up. And it all depends entirely on the rules. Now, to anyone that played in 7th edition and whinged about universal special rules, this is what you ended up with instead, where every data sheet is different. And frankly, I could always remember what Crusader did. You know? USRs were very, very useful. For starters, it's only one thing to change in an FAQ or an errata, which means that you don't have like weird bits where, oh, we've changed, I don't know, Bolter Discipline. But unfortunately, we forgot about the Space Wolf. So Space Wolf currently rules as written still have old Bolter Discipline. Everyone else has new Bolter Discipline. You know, you don't have that utter shit to have to deal with when it inevitably happens. So, USRs, real good. Alright, that's those done. Just got some gems to do, Telemon to do, and that's all our blue. We can glue everything down. Actually, you know what? Let's not bother gluing it down. Let's just keep going what we're going, and we will paint some purple. It is 10:15. We should be able to get the purple done tonight as well. Actually, second ability on a single unit affected by a first. Yeah, you have to recheck wording. Yeah. Yeah, absolutely. Same here. If you said, oh, I've got feel no pain, everyone knew what feel no pain meant. If you say, I've got inured by suffering, like, alright, what's that? What's feel no pain? And that's what makes 40k complicated right now, is remembering all those things. So everyone that plays it just barters it down to, alright, cool, that's just a feel no pain. Nice, dude. Nice. Well, I hope you have fun with your first in-person game. It is May the 12th when we can play toys again in a shop. Come on, up, Bob. Take care. Hope you have a good evening, dude. Thanks for dropping by. Always good to see you, my man. When can we have people in our house to play 40k? Something in the back of my head is telling me that that's possibly April the 12th. Not 100% on that. But okay. Become Dust. How you doing? I hope you're enjoying TTS, mate. I absolutely hate it. I played 2 games in it, once versus a friend, as a sort of 25-minute, 30-minute, like, here's just a turn each so you can learn like what to do. And then I played an absolute cockwomble. It's a very competitive player. And it's someone that I've played many times in person. And I specifically asked before the game, like, can we just have a very chill game? You know, nothing about, like, super strict measurements and stuff, just a little bit more free-flowing than normal. And he decided he wouldn't let me charge a unit because his unit was an inch away from the wall and my unit's bases were 32mm, and therefore I couldn't possibly ever fit, therefore I couldn't make that charge. And I was just like, you know what, mate, at this point we are fucking done. I've never just walked away from a game of 40k, ever. I've played some utter dickheads as well. But that was the one. That one broke me. We were done then. So, in the last year, because we've been locked down for more than a year now, so in the last year, I've played 3 games here at home. And I played 2 with Necrons. No, 2 with Necrons, 2 with Knights, and 1 with Custodes. I've played 5 games in the last year on my own table, and I am 5-0 on that. So that's good. Good score. I have played in 4 tournaments or 5 tournaments. Played in 5 tournaments. I played in an RTT that I ran and went 2 losses, 1 win. My first ever negative tournament. Ugh. Then I played in another RTT that I ran and went 1-2. Lost to Harlequin, fucking haywire bike spam. Playing Knights. That's the last thing you want to see. It's the Might Mohawk and the Mohawk of Steel that cut diamond. The Mighty Mohawk and the Mohawk of Steel that cuts diamond. I think. How you doing, Jade? I played in a Hellstorm tournament, which is a 1-day RTT up in Mansfield, Sutton Ashfield, where I went 3-0. I beat Blood Angels Imperial Fist Soup, played by one of the Team England guys, Sisters of Battle, and some flavour of Space Marines. Oh, it was Raven Guard. I mean, Raven Guard hardly a meta threat right now. And then I played at the SNGT in Gibraltar and went 4-1, giving me second place overall. Super good. Groups. That's the highest group. Girlfriend's Demons, I guess. Definitely play your Girlfriend's Demons. Become Dust. I really hope you're enjoying it, mate. I genuinely do, because I love this hobby. It has given me a lot personally, and is now my profession. I paint for a living. We do obviously Twitch, we do Patreon, we do YouTube. I'm a commission painter. This is a commission. So there's lots of great things that GW and specifically 40k have done for me. Right, that's all the blue done, with one exception. So now we need to go back and dot the I's. Now you can use white. There's nothing wrong with that. I find that sometimes white, especially on lighter colours like the light blue that we've got, can be a little bit too stark, a little bit too striking. So what I tend to use is the sickly skin that we've used for all of the rest of this. On eye lenses. On gems, tend to use white. White ink for definite. Lots of outdoor stuff in shops from mid-April. Indoors, your own home is May. Okay, that's fine. So this dot goes right up here towards the back and must be separate from that lighter highlight that we've got there. It also must be fucking tiny. So, good brush. Yeah, careful placement. All these things vitally important. Make sure you paint nice and thin, easy flow off the brush. And do not overload your brush either. That is very important. If you do, you're going to get too much paint transferred. And you'll just be fucking spooging it on there, and that's definitely not what we want at all. The thing to watch out for is that specifically, more so with lighter colours, you will find the paint dries on your brush quite quickly, so just wash your brush out very frequently. Already bought my first unit simply just to try and paint. Never played tabletop, not painting amazing, so it's a super relaxing hobby. I've already invested into Rubber Hobby Lab, can't wait to compare the difference. Nice, dude. Very nice. I love painting. Painting is this amazing creative outlet for me. And I didn't know that I was missing it until I found it again. I'm so glad I picked up a brush, basically. So glad. If it wasn't for the fact I was reading the Horus Heresy novels just on a whim, I definitely wouldn't have got back into painting. And my life would very possibly be very different right now. There could be lots of things that aren't the same. And some of it's good, some of it's bad, basically. But definitely a very life-changing thing. It all leads back to just going, fuck it, you know what, this has popped up in my Kindle, like, recommended reading. Yeah, why not? Let's read the Horus Heresy books. It's a good series of books to read. 54 books in. And then the Siege of Terror starts. Though I will admit, I did skip quite a lot of the short story collection ones. They weren't my favourite. You'd get to a point where it was just getting interesting and then it would switch to a different person, like a different protagonist. Like, but I was enjoying that! I did read one, and this was definitely my favourite one, which is the blood games. They talk about the blood games. The blood games are this thing that Custodes do. Basically, they take one custode out of the gang, the lads, whatever they call themselves. It's not really an army because they don't think of themselves as an army, but one custode out of the group of people guarding the Emperor and send him off, and he has to try and assassinate the Emperor. And not just give it his best shot. I mean, has to actually try. Really, really give it the fucking beans. And obviously, none of them actually made it, and none of them killed Big E, because, well, that would be a different ending to the heresy. And so, as a result, what happens in the story is this guy gets the closest, closer than anyone has ever gotten, and actually gets to swing his sword, It's a fucking great little book, and I love that. But why did it stop there? Top 3 writers, the top 2 are super, super easy. In order, Abnett, Bowden. Bowden's work is incredible. Absolutely another level good. Super, super, super impressive. And his characters are always very richly written and absolutely on point. There's flaws that the characters have, but there's no flaws in the writing of the character. But Abnett, for me, comes up with the most incredibly rich background stuff. So you'll have Bowden write a book that's in a universe, using characters that are established and embellished already. I'm not just talking about his heresy stuff. I'm talking about some of his other stuff, like the First Claw, and some of his other. I think he. I can't remember if he wrote the Araman omnibus that I was just listening to. But that all of those things. He writes about stuff that is kind of pre-existing, whereas Abnett just goes, you know what? I'm going to write about this thing that I've thought about. Here comes Brothers of the Snake. He just picks something up and runs with it. Here's Eisenhorn. Here's Ravener. Here's Gaunt's Ghosts. Awesome. I think my third, you said top 3, so I think my third is Sandy Mitchell, I think it is, that wrote the Cyphers Kane books. Love that character. So good. Horus Rising is amazing. Absolutely amazing. I've not listened to the audiobook of it, but I have it. It came up in one of the Audible Christmas sales that they did, where loads of books were £3 a book. I ended up buying 30 Warhammer rated audiobooks over Christmas because of it. But I've read the book more than once, probably 3 or 4 times. And that first line, I was there the day that Horus slew the Emperor. You're like, I'm fucking hooked right now. Goosebumps everywhere. Have I read Wrath of Magnus yet? The Heresy book, yeah. Oh, wait, no. That's the newest one. I was thinking about something else. No, I haven't. I haven't read any of the Beckwin series. And I have Eisenhorn Magos on audiobook. I've also got Xenos and whatever the second one was. I don't have the third one. I'm waiting for next month to get my Audible credit, and then I'll just do the lot in series. I've just finished not long ago all of the Ravener audiobooks, and Ravener was an amazing character. Here's basically the 41st Millennium's Professor X. With some extra juice. It's such an amazing character. You managed to get a copy of the Lord of the Dark Limb? No. To be honest, I don't buy a lot of books. These days, I work 80 hours a week. Between painting, streaming, teaching, like painting lessons, that is, and so on. And I love that. I love having work to do. This is great for me. Because this isn't really work. I'm sat here chatting to you guys, painting these beautiful miniatures. This should not be classified as work for anyone. This is playtime. But I love it. As a result, though, I don't have much chance to read. I still read books on my phone, on like the Kindle app and stuff. But I tend to reserve that for things that are very light-hearted. Things like the Jack Reacher books. I'm reading The Beast Arises, actually, at the moment. They did the omnibus. So you end up buying like 3 books for 30 quid rather than 12 books for 120 quid. So, you know, that's good. There was a Mechanicus from the Heresy is a good one. I'm pretty sure that's the one that has a very famous Mechanicus character in that I don't want to like give spoilers for. I'm very against spoilers, but if it's the one I'm thinking of, you'll recognize somebody immediately. You're like, this guy is here. This is where it starts. Oh, yes. Super good. Super, super good. Right, purple highlights. We need Nagaroth Night. We need Sunset Red, which is definitely not red. We need Menoth White highlight. Here's the progression for that purple. Okay, let's get to Telemon because he's got the biggest, like, slab shoulders. That purple is this. So the Horus Heresy series is 54 books. And then at the end of the series, the last book there happens just before the start of the next book. The next book is The Siege of Terror. And that's where all the bad guys have got there. They almost got there. They're like on the doorstep to Terror. Abaddon, take care, mate. Last Church, I've heard of. Yeah. Nice. The Unification Wars, I listened to Constantine Valdor's book, Birth of the Imperium. That was fucking amazing. Oh, so good. So good. Can I ask, after reading the Horus Heresy series, do you root for Horus by the end? No. You obviously know what the turnout is. You're not rooting for Horus, but you feel sorry. I feel sorry for Horus because you know that the path he's been led down has been one of manipulation and treachery to get him to that stage. And it's not an honest thing. It's not he's there because he genuinely has like beef with his dad. He's there because somebody took this like one little niggling thing at the back of his head and fanned the flames of it, and then with some lies and some deceit and some manipulation of him, took it to the point where he was like, right, that's it. You gave up on book 50. Bro, you were so close. Like, you've really given... It's like the guy leading his missus out of hell in the Greek mythology. Last step. You know what? No, I just need to have one quick look to make sure she's still here. Yeah. Oh, I ruined it all now. That's you with the Horus Heresy books. They brought back Valdor in 40k. I haven't seen that. Where is that? So fucking boring, let her burn. Brilliant. Also, spoilers. Sorry, I thought you meant a miniature, which is why I didn't comment. But let's keep the spoilers to a minimum. Especially books as well. Like I get properly butthurt if someone spoils a film for me. I don't even watch trailers. I'm really, really against spoilers at all. But books, I feel, is like a worst one. Because, like, go on, put in all that time reading that book. Go on. By the way, this happens. When the Harry Potter books came out, and I think just talking about Harry Potter spoilers is probably fine by now, seeing as the books have been out for, I don't fucking know. Like, the last book probably came out, I was working at GW, so call it 15 years or so ago. You've had time to read it. Like 2 days after it came out, one of the locals walked in and was like, fucking hell, Harry Potter, I can't believe Snape kills Voldemort. And the guy I was working with was reading that book, and he just stood up, turned around, grabbed whatever he could off the shelf, and lobbed it at this kid. And I can't remember what it was. I have a horrible suspicion it was one of the old Warhammer rulebooks. Like, yes. And I mean, like, the big, fuck off, thick, hardback, A4 sized Warhammer books. And he just binned it down the shop at him, swearing his head off. So, like, well done, you just read like 7 books or whatever. You've got to this stage. We're now at like the final fight. By the way, this happened. Right, so we're taking a mix of Naggaroth Night, adding in some of that Sunset Red. This is one of my favourite paints. Absolutely one of my favourite paints. This pink ends up on a lot more models than people think. I've done a great many commissions where that has been involved, and no one has known that there has been pink on there, but there's been pink. It just does such great things to this purple. Too many sprues! How you doing, brother? Right, so we're working up to kind of a violet, like Parma Violets kind of colour. Godzilla vs. Kong was epic. Good. I'm looking forward to watching it, dude. But is that my ice yellow? No. No, that's my ice yellow. It's over here with the yellow ones. That's where I keep it, not with the pink ones, which is down here. I've actually never cracked the top on that cap. You know. If anyone spoils Godzilla vs. Kong for me, fucking lifetime ban. Like, lifetime ban. Not kidding. I don't care. All I need from a movie is to be entertained. I am the crowd in Gladiator. Are you not entertained? Yes, I was. Thank you very much for making that film. That's all I fucking wanted, was to be entertained. And you entertained me. That is it. Which means I can enjoy the Fast and the Furious movies again and again and again. And I don't care. So, we're alright. There's a monkey in it. Nice. A-Cold, that doesn't surprise me at all. I love the bit in The Simpsons years and years and years and years and years ago, where they have a clip of Homer walking at the movies. And he's like, "Wow, Darth Vader's Luke's father," in front of the entire line. Like, other than hate also versus Kong, entertainer. That's all I needed to do. That's all I needed to do. I can't remember the name of the actor, the martial artist that played Godzilla, but doing all those karate kicks in that suit, damn, man. Right, I'm just going to dry that and then make sure that it's the correct color. Never too many socks! Hey, hey! Keeping that gift sub going, thank you very much. Any question that Godzilla's comments question of Godzilla? I don't even understand that word. How's it going, bud? Right, just want to compare that dry now. Yeah, that looks good. That looks good. The word will be a little bit bright, but looking tight. So you can see how skinny these highlights are going to be. You want it to be razor sharp because this needs to be done in a very controlled fashion because this is such a massive departure from this color here. It's also going on quite a few things, so we're going to get a few of the edges. We're probably not going to do any more than we've just done. That's kind of all we need to do to help provide that shape, but we're definitely hitting all these rivets with it. Now because of that, that also helps to define the shape of our shoulder pad, so where they're placed. But it also changes the overall value of the shoulder pad from something that is dark to something that is light. Because there's quite a lot of them. Not gonna lie, I would love Godzilla vs. Kong diorama. Yes. Yes. I've never watched a single episode of Dragon Ball Z. I've seen bits of episodes because a mate of mine was super into it when I was in sixth form at school. But it's not really my thing. What I'm gonna do is very carefully get a little highlight around here. I need to thin that just a touch more. Help that flow out a little bit. I see a group of nerds ripping her sport at shreds. Yep. I just want to entertain. That's it. Jaeger, how's it going, bro? It's all good. It's all good. Like the plot of Pacific Rim. What plot? You know, the plot of Transformers films. What plot? I genuinely don't care. I'm going to get giant robots smashing something else, possibly even other giant robots. And that makes me happy. Even the Marky Mark films were good. You know? Like, who doesn't love it when Vin Diesel stood on top of a fucking car park? I'm like, you thought it was going to be a street fight? You're damn right. And The Rock comes in and saves the day. I'm like, oh, I hope you brought backup. Woman, I am the backup. It's The Rock. Of course, that's totally fine. You know? Yeah, lifts a desk, bro. Standing 40k is now it's a big screen or picked up for a Netflix series or something. It has been picked up for a Netflix series. Eisenhorn, bro. Eisenhorn's going to be a live-action series similar to things like The Witcher, and will be on Netflix. Those cloth or rubber gloves? These are like normal nitrite gloves. nitrile, whatever. The non-powdery ones, whatever that is. Not sure if casting defect or like detail added to it, but for some reason that rivet is actually missing and has an indent. Is it from episode? I'm pretty sure it was. Pretty sure. Put it this way, I'm going to say I am 95% sure that's what I'd read when they were talking about it. I may be wrong. Like there's every chance that that's going to happen. But I was pretty confident they said it was a Netflix thing. Because where else are they going to distribute it? Yeah? It's Netflix, Amazon, or Disney. Disney don't own Games Workshop. They own everything else. It's not likely to be American TV like HBO Max and stuff like that because Games Workshop is an English company. And they'll want their fan base here to be able to watch it. GW said it. There we go. That's what I thought. I think it's get ruined by Netflix. Netflix does a lot of things right. I don't know what you're talking about. Right. They're Marvel adaptations. Rule 1, Jay's never wrong. Rule 2, Jay's wrong and falls to rule 1. Look, I never played the Witcher video games, so I have no dog in the fight. I really enjoyed the series. I have no issue with how it was handled. Was it completely accurate to the game? I don't know, but I equally don't give a fuck. Altered Carbon, my god, so good. So good. Literally the best, we'll say, TV show I've ever seen in my life. Just fucking incredible. The budget, the action, everything else. Season 2 wasn't brilliant. First time round. Second time round, definitely enjoyed it. Because I went into Season 2 the first time round expecting a different character to still definitely be Kovacs. And therefore, by that, I do of course mean be a bastard. Because Kovacs is an absolute bastard. And Anthony Mackie didn't play it that way. If it was enjoyable, it was definitely good enough. You know? If it was tolerable, it would be not good. I find it enjoyable. Daredevil, super good. Super good. Really, really liked it. And I'm a big Marvel Comics guy. You know, read them since I was a kid. I haven't read them in years, but read them since I was a kid. Yeah, the worst thing they can do is not renew it. There you go. Jessica Jones. Season 1 was really, really good. Fucking hell. As soon as I found out it was Kilgrave, I literally was like, I don't know how I'm going to do this. And this is going to be fucking horrible. Shit, this is going to be bad. Punisher was good. Don't know what you're talking about. In fact, I don't think you know what you're talking about. Punisher played by... shit, I've just totally forgotten his name. He played a really good Punisher. My only only negative opinion, we'll say, about the Punisher series is even after Jigsaw became Jigsaw, and he's moaning about how he's ugly and a monster and things like that, he's still fucking better looking than I am. Like, what's he got to fucking worry about? Give it 6 months. The scars will heal. You'll look fine. Like, Season 2, unfortunately, wasn't carried through with a great villain. And that's a shame. Season 1 I thought was good. But I also absolutely love the Punisher. Love The Punisher. J equals The Thing. I'm not made of rocks, is all I've got to say about that. John Burnett-Thor, thank you. Thank you. He's great as Frank. Put it this way. There have been 3 people, well, there have been 4 people on the big screen that have played Frank Castle. One of them was one of the guys from the old King Arthur film, and he was very bad. But it wasn't that he was bad, it was the film was extremely badly written. Adeptus Social Medius. That is a good name. That is a good name. Thank you for the follow. So, okay, Metzinus, you and I are going to fucking throw down over this. Dolph Lundgren played a perfect 90s action film version of The Punisher. Was it a good film? Definitely not by today's standards. Wasn't a brilliant film by those standards. Nitro, thanks for the follow and take care, man. The Thomas Jane film was a brilliant film because it was Welcome Back, Frank. Pretty much, they had Travolta instead of the female matriarch of the family that ended up with her being fed to a bear twice. You know, it didn't have that. It had John Travolta. Not good. Not good. He wasn't good. The film was brilliant. The film was fantastic. The story behind it, you know, the theme of punishment. I made you kill your wife. I made you kill your best friend. You know, that's punishment. That wasn't just Frank capping him. That was legit punishment. I thought that was an epic film. Hiko, awesome, dude. Awesome. I'm glad. Now, the Punisher Warzone film with Dennis Nedry, whatever his real name is, as Micro, was very bad. Very, very bad. Super, super terribly bad. The rest of the films were great. Absolutely great. The old Daredevil film with Ben Affleck, I thought was good. You're not alone. You're definitely not alone. Elektra was a bit weak. It was quite weak. But I didn't mind the Ben Affleck version. Hey! How you doing, brother? Straight from the mean seats. Mean seats? Well, he was sat down playing it. Straight from the mean streets of the cursed city. Here is Mikey from Hellstorm Wargaming. Bringing you nothing but the freshest, stalest 40k content. And occasionally Sigma-ish content. How's it going? Jamartin, Hellstrom guy. How's it going? Sorry I overran. Hey mate, it's all good. I don't know if you saw my question, but I came in really, really late. Jackie's been here, and he's still here, in fact. So I was spending time with her rather than watching you on Twitch. Is it fun? Is it fun? That's the biggest question I need answered about Curse City. Is it fun? Everything else we can talk about on stream tomorrow and create more insightful, and it definitely incites quite a lot of things, actually, you know, content. So the scariest Marvel comic content is not the Punisher obtaining a War Machine suit. It's the Punisher, after he's been killed, being resurrected in the Frankenstein series of the Punisher. That's horrible. Oi. Paint the suit red. Nice. Bullseye. Colin Farrell made Bullseye better in that movie than the comic. I'm not sure we'll agree on that one. He wasn't a great comic villain, but I thought that Farrell's like utter lunacy detracted from it quite a lot. I wasn't super sold on Michael, whatever his name is, the Giganto dude. Played Kingpin. I wasn't super sold on him. I'm looking forward to putting more time to the leveling aspect and then going on another mission. Nice, man. What's the campaign system like? Because we talked about it on the last Monday stream. That was kind of one of my worries about it, was having just doubled down on a game that is very campaign driven and has probably the richest campaign system in any tabletop board game. Does this have the same kind of longevity, and will it keep me playing through for many, many, many sessions? Oh. Kershi, how you doing? Hellstrom guy, cheers for that host. We love hosts. Love hosts. But those who've just come in from the Hellstorm stream, you probably know me. I'm the one that makes naughty comments about Sigmar and how I don't want to play it, basically. And that causes riots in the comments section of all Mikey's videos. So what I'm doing now is I'm painting something from the best game ever, which is Warhammer 40,000. And this is a Custodes Telemon Dreadnought. We're working on 7 Dreds right now. 7 Forge-World Dreds all at once, because why not? Why not? If complete 3 missions to grow levels, which makes you better, but makes more enemies appear too. Nice. There's an overarching dream. Alright, sweet. Acold, no, still nothing from Twitch, but, you know, it takes its time, and it is what it is. Nurgle would be proud. He'd be cleaned up. I think the Custodes, the custodians of the 41st millennium, with their Auramite brooms and floor buffers, would definitely sweep away the foul stench of Nurgle with a flash. Now in lemon. So here's our big bad Telemon. Just got 2 little bits of highlighting to do here, and then we're moving on to one of 6 of the Contemptor Dreads. 3 of the guys with the sword and shield. And if you like those swords, there's a video guide now on Patreon for how to do those. And the same techniques we used on the spear as well. I think these spears look outstanding. That very curved sort of sine wave-like pattern down there. Jay makes content on Mikey's channel, and Mikey takes the read from comments. I think that's pretty accurate. Jake's 2 pence. That's very true. So we get more unsubs after tomorrow's Warhammer Monday, probably. Bang, and the dirt is gone. Well done, Too Many Sprues. So many Dreads. Is that the list, or is just someone buffing up a collection? So this is the second part of a commission. The first part of the commission is here. And unfortunately, due to him being deployed at the start of the pandemic, they're still here, and he's never got to have them. He didn't want me to send them to fucking Afghanistan, basically. But here, there's 15 Sagittarum, 15 Custodian Guard with Sword and Shield. I want to say there's 10 Terminators. Must be 9. So I think there's like 8. There's 7 a Shield Captain and the Vexilla. There's 3 Assassins converted up out of Custodes parts. So there's a Eversaw Assassin. There's 2 Vindicare Assassins. That was it for the 3. Trajan, a couple of Vexillas, a couple of Shield Captains, and another Telemon. So there'll be 8 Dreadnoughts in total out of the whole of this army. It's a big Custodes force, many thousand points, probably into the 5k now for sure. But it's all done in this color scheme. The gold has had no highlights on it just yet. It's just the airbrush stages, which go up in intensity from like dark gold to a very bright silvery gold. Then it's had its washes put down. Gold and Glow was a YouTube video. No, Gold and Glow is a Patreon video. So they're going to have to do gold my way as well up on Patreon. Paint a lot of gold. I have a collector's Eversort on Vindicator Assassin, but old metal ones, and I won't make use of them soon. Nice, dude. I like the Assassins. I think they're very characterful models. The old Vindicator one is definitely a collector's item. I love the collector's Assassins, so I converted up a couple out of Van Saar Gangers when they first came out. I know a lot of us had the same idea. Can you see the Assassins? Yeah, give me 2 seconds, mate. So the Eversort is a conversion that uses Shrike's claws and pistol. I'm going to do that bit next before I forget to highlight that. The other one's right at the back, so I'm not going to grab him. But it's another Vindicator Assassin. So there's the Eversort. So you can see we've gone with the same kind of look and feel to the power weapon on here. Same color scheme, purple and gold, obviously. A little bit of OSL on the backpack. All of the models in that commission had blue glow on the back vents. All of these dreadnoughts, exactly the same. That video will go up on YouTube on Friday this week. So give us a subscribe over there if you want to see it. But obviously lots of sort of satin style highlights on all of the cloth. We've got Shrike's pistol and hands built into a Custodes frame for the Eversort. Warden bodies on everything. All the Sagittarum, all of the Custodian Guard, all have Warden bodies because my client likes them all. And this is one of the Vindicators. He's rifle at the ready, the Custodes version of the rifle. He's got his dagger out, doing a little bit of wet work, just getting someone nice and quiet rather than the Exitus rifle, just blasting them into a trillion pieces. Yeah, super nice. Obviously, different base size. He's had to be on 32s to match the Assassins. The rest of the army's on 40, so we couldn't do a lot with the stances. Had to find the guys that are a little bit more close-footed to use for it. Custodes are honking, chunky boys. There's a lot of, we'll just say, girth to them. And so taking that and putting it on a small base means that frequently your feet are overhanging it. And you definitely can't get away with that on a miniature. It doesn't look right at all. I'm glad you like it, dude. Jake, thank you for that host, bro. No, I'm a big fan of what we've accomplished with the scheme. I love the way it looks. It's simple, it's effective, but it stands out from so far away. Like if you break gold down to it, the way I paint it, it's basically like a desaturated metallic orange, right? You think about that, and then put it in connection to these swords. These swords are also kind of orange. If you balance it all out across the board, you've got bright yellow, red, it's basically orange. So you've basically got an orange and purple army, and that's the way it works. If you take your color theory and start working back to your contrasting colors and your colors that support each other, then purple and orange are opposites on the color wheel. It's great. That's why the scheme works. Obviously, then it's down to making sure your highlights are right, your gradients are right. You know, blue is our supporting color, contrasts really well with orange. because it's bright blue, very pale blue, against the very saturated purple. Contrast there as well. So, and then the bases really just sort of take them and move them to another level. In some cases, literally, like that one of those assassins is head and shoulders above the battlefield because his base actually puts him on another level, you know? So, I like him. Big fan. Do murder on 28mm at 25 just to avoid the overhang, but dying the Custodes and Custodes look great. You have said your plan is to take those to tournaments. I think you should probably rethink that. I will not allow an army at one of my tournaments to have the wrong base sizes, because that makes a enormous difference. It changes things like coherency, it changes your measurements, it changes the amount of screening you can do, it changes ways you can move block your opponent. There is a lot that is modified in those 3mm, especially if that 3mm is across 75 to 100 models, which for an Eldar army is not too far out of character. Just be prepared for that. You say no one ever measures price enough for 3mm makes a matter. I'm telling you now, and I'm telling you now, this is not opinion, this is known fact. At the top tables, it matters. And you would be surprised perhaps at how much it matters. I remember, in fact, Mikey, if he's still in the chat, will be able to back this up. I remember playing a game with somebody where I had to move a knight, and I had to take my 12-inch move and convert 12 inches to millimeters and measure in metric, not imperial, to prove I could get the knight where I was trying to place it. I knew I could do it. My opponent was arguing the call. My opponent turned out to be cheating the entire tournament, but it is what it is. So yeah. Your Dance mentions box? Bikes. Right, yes. Yeah, I mean, certainly anytime you change the base size on something. In fact, speaking of which, Mikey's just written an article all about this, in fact, that was on the Raging Heroes blog. So it might be worth a read, but it really, really matters. Which is why Sangrenor conversions need to be on 25mm bases, stuff like that. And then switch from game to display bases by magnetizing them. I've done commissions like that, for definite. We put the Custodes jet bikes on that I did for Samael and the Talon Master, the sort of conversions from land speeders. We magnetized them and then magnetized the stand, so the stand just holds a bit better on the base, to allow you to swap the base from the oblong one, not oblong, the like oval one, to the round disc base, and it still sits properly in the thing. Off-topic question: do you like fruitcake and slow gin? As in slow gin fruitcake. I like fruitcake. I've never liked slow gin by itself, but I've never had slow gin and fruitcake, so I don't know. Yeah, so Rob, I hate people with sloppy measurements, and this is why every single game, and I've said this many times on the chat before, every single tournament game I have a chat with somebody. I say, look, if dice aren't completely flat to the table, let's just call them cocked, and it gets over any feel bads later on where you pass and it's cocked, and I say, well, it's cocked, and you're like, well, it's not really. We just know that's that way at the start of the game. And then also, if you've moved something, that's it, it's moved. Once it's moved, It's done. I might send you one if that's okay. I don't need to, and got a voucher. I'm on a bit of a diet. So's my housemate. In fact, he's on like a strict keto diet now, so, you know. If it's a small cake, like a portion, sure. If not, I'm sure somehow, Steve, you'll find a way of getting through it. It's in a tin, it will last. Brilliant. Fuck's sake. Okay. Sure, mate. Send me cake. Why not? Yeah, I've seen people that, like, there's their mini, and the tape measure's there, and they do that, and as they move the mini, the tape measure goes with them. I'm like, no. I think you're a bit sloppy with that one, mate. You need to... You know, we've all been there. Is my music bot stopped? Yes. Because for some reason the loop decided to stop. That was weird. So that happened before. But yeah, movement is literally the most important thing in games, guys. And anything that changes the movement for any reason whatsoever is very powerful. So the infamous front to back move, yeah. That one happens a bit. The template and range bit measured in millimeters. Wow, that precise. Nice. I'm playing a reroll to have to reroll cot dice, like you rerolled when you failed, but didn't expect to. Yeah, exactly. Yeah. That's why I have that chat at the start. Because it removes the negative interaction that may happen later on in the game, right? And I would much rather have happy, fun games with every single person I play, because I've got a better chance of being better sport, right? No. Definitely because I'd just rather play a fun game. I want to play a tough game. You know, I want my opponent to push me, so I'm forced to play to the absolute best of my ability. Rather than just sort of stand there and like phone it in from the side of the table, you know. But I want to have a game where we're both having a laugh, regardless of winner or loser, though I'd prefer to win. It's a tournament. I'm there to try and win. The trap so it doesn't come with a base need to have a base. No, in fact, it actually shouldn't have a base. We'll get to that in a sec if you want. Like things that don't have bases, and why they shouldn't have bases, and why it matters. But yeah, we'll try and win, and then obviously after the game, I'll buy beers. Because you should always have a beer with your opponent. That's what tournaments are for. It's one reason to be able to handle your drink, is so you can have a beer after your game. In WC, they have to roll anything that isn't on the table doesn't count, even if it's flat on a piece of terrain. Yeah, exactly. That's one way of playing it. To me, I don't care as long as it is flat. Yeah, so if you're playing with like the round disc objectives, which are always good. Dude! God damn, man. Ginger Steve, let's get some love in the chat for this man. Not only is he sending me cake, exactly, plus a cake, he's also giving 5 gift subs to the channel. We got subs to Tolton, Go Texaco 28, oh dear, Prince Knucklehead, Fish, MC Fish for a bit, and Leon Jorgensen. All you guys, sus cake. Is it sus? Is it going to be sus? Steve wouldn't poison me, for I am his painting sensei. And I feel at this point, if he poisoned me, the homework would be more than he could bear. I'll punish him with with homework. It's from Betty's of Harrogate. That sounds delightful. I don't have any frame of reference for it. But yeah, there you go. Obviously, try and have fun, and so on. Things that don't have bases, should they have bases? The answer is no. Not in a tournament game, obviously. In a fun game, fuck it, do whatever. Build display bases for all your shit. I would love it if that was the case. But in a tournament, definitely not. Because what will happen if you have a base on something in a tournament is you will have this subconscious... SJ! How you doing? Betty, don't poison. Brilliant. Oh, SJ, 3 out of 5. Poor effort. Poor effort. But thank you, dude. Much appreciated. Yeah, you'll have this subconscious want to measure from bases. And what's worse than that is your opponent might. Because they may not realise, especially towards perhaps the lower end of the tournament hall, they may not realise that that particular unit doesn't have a base. It might be the first time they've played that army. It might be they're thinking, oh shit, nobody else has put theirs on a base. I didn't realise it was optional. And they might be making measurements to the base. So for weapon ranges, for charge ranges. I can't see a likely occurrence for this, but maybe they're trying to make sure they're far enough away that you can't charge. But I can't think of many things that don't have a base that would be something that would want to charge, that you'd want to make sure you're away from. Maybe ATVs. Maybe ATVs. And so that's why things that don't have bases should not have bases. It's just to prevent any misunderstanding from your opponent. But I'm very much someone in the camp of when you go to the table, when you and your opponent are playing. Defilers, that's a good one. Yeah, good shout on that, Des. When you play a game, your opponent shouldn't have to try and remind himself what parts of your army are. There should be no, okay, so that's this, which means it does this. And what was that one again? That if that happens, sure, there's a little bit of room there for your opponent not being the most switched on person ever. But they shouldn't have to be. That's on you, the person with that army, to ensure that everything looks exactly as it should be. Right, time has gotten away from us this evening. This has been a really fun stream. But it's already 20 past 11. And so it's definitely time for the whip. Definitely time for the whip. Ordinarily on a Sunday, I would reveal one of the miniatures that's going in the giveaway for next month. And I would do that by opening a box and... opening something and putting a box on the table, going, here's the mini it's going to be. This one didn't come in a box. And normally we'd put something in the Patreon voting channel for Patreon members to vote on and go, hey, here's some things, go and choose one of these things. But I decided not to do that this time because I want to paint that. Here's a blurry photo of that. Anyone tell me what it is? Should they come on a base? It'd be nice. Lilith! Absolutely. So I got this out of a Piety and Pain box that a friend bought that didn't want the Dark Eldar parts of it. So we have Lilith to paint. And ideally not make her look like she's eaten a Greg's or two too many, So you could win if you're a subscriber or a Patreon video viewer or higher tier member. You could win this on the last stream of the month, which is the 30th? 29th. Thursday the 29th. Don't forget, exclamation point vote. We are giving away, well, we're raffling off a Tyrannid army plus probably 9 other prizes over the course of the weekend from the 24th to 25th of April. Okay, important. I will tell you now, there will be 2 painted armies that we're going to give raffling. There'll be 1 new in-box Sisters army in the raffle, and then 7 other prizes. The theme is armies, so you can have a guess at what some of those prizes will be, and it's not just like, well, here's a start collecting box. That's a bit of a shit prize, though, isn't it? It's not a bad prize. It's not, you know. Refresh the page. Des. Oh, Even Stevens. High Fleet Stabilo is on a tear. Des is campaigning for this. Now, if you guys want the Blue and Bone to win, then go and campaign for that before Des overtakes you and we paint a Tyrannid army in pink, green, and orange. My favourite, I'm going to say, the one I was kind of rooting for myself is definitely this one. I really like this colour scheme. So, you know, by all means, go and vote for that for me. Anyway, it's whip time. Let's see what we've got in the whip over on Discord. Exclamation point whip if you would like to submit something. So go to today, start the stream. Wow, there's not much in the whip tonight. This is the start of the stream. So first one up is Blinky. We've been painting purple tonight. Look at that for some purple. How's that for some purple? That's a good purple. I'm liking it. This is a sort of Spartan / Legionnaire style thing. Very cool looking details on this mini. But I love that purple. Very, very nice, man. Just one tip. Alright, one extremely, extremely important tip. There is a company that makes very, very good brushes, and they're not quite good enough brushes to have their name on them. Get like sold off as like seconds to other companies that then sell them to whoever, you know, hobbyists and so on. That company is Winsor & Newton. And Winsor & Newton are responsible for making the Artificer brushes for Games Workshop. Now, Games Workshop sell those brushes for £17. Are you fucking kidding me? 17 quid. That's like full in to the elbow, man. Whereas you can buy the brush that was good enough to have their name on it from a reputable art dealer, like Jackson's, for instance, for between £10 and £12. Beautiful mini, love what you're doing, but good God alive, do not buy Artificer brushes from Games Workshop. You're literally setting fire to a fiver every time you do so, and still buying a brush that's not as good as it could be. Alright, Hiko, here's the Tau scheme. Hiko, this isn't yours, is it? Considering you said, oh, I started a Tau army the other day, and suddenly Storm Surge. But this is a very cool scheme. Very cool. I mean, they aren't great, but he's a lot of Humbrol brushes. Fair. So, honestly, mate, honestly, don't buy these off Amazon, because there are some fakes out there. Go to a real art dealer. You'll have some, you'll have plenty. Check the prices, because obviously there's going to be like import and stuff like that. These are made in the UK, about 2 hours drive from where I live. And if they are very expensive, that'll be it. But these look great. Hiko, if yours look like that, fantastic. Just do me a favour. This is something I actually hate on miniatures. There's a lot of painting studios out there that use the airbrush a lot. I do. I love the airbrush. But let me... This, on the cluster missiles, that's too bright. And this is... And if we zoom in just a touch then, you can see it's very speckly. And this is because somebody, the artist behind this, has taken... I'm going to say, at this case, an extremely light grey mixed with some white ink. And then blasted it right in the middle there, going, I don't know how to highlight this, so just do a big light bit in the middle. Please don't do that. Anyone. How would this highlight come to light? Yeah. It doesn't. Light doesn't work that way. This is definitely not something you should do. Work the top edges. This just is someone in airbrush phoning it in, which is a shame because the airbrush work on the rest of it has been lovely. Good masking there, nice highlight towards the top of the whatever protrusion that is on the stomach, and so on. The blue looks great, and here they just went, I don't know what to do. Psh, yeah, and don't do that. Don't do that at all. That was the wrong button. On the wrong screen, in fact. Alright. Malsur, latest tried a bit of worn leather for the first time. Alright, let's have a look. Okay. I think you've gone slightly too bright. Let me grab a couple of Marines that I've done. Two of my students' Marines. That's one. Where's that Templar? There you go. Here's another. So with your photo, by the way, it's ever so slightly overexposed. So try and change the light settings on your camera, and that can hopefully just back that down a little bit. Triangle isn't in the middle of the chest. No, it's not, but it was close enough. Right, so here's some worn leather work. Okay, this is on two different sets of pouches. You can see it's kind of the same. Right, one is a little darker because we've got a darker marine. It needed a little bit more of a subtle brown there. This one a little bit lighter, and mine is kind of a more yellowish shade above the brown. Whereas what you've done is build yours up to much more of a white. And it's made the leather look almost vitrified or petrified. And that doesn't look worn anymore. It looks like more of a special effect, which is probably not what you've been going for. Look up for reference pictures of old worn leather jackets, leather coin purses, things like that, because that's kind of the thing that you've got here. I've got an old suede leather jacket that is like that around the bottom of the cuffs and stuff. And so I have a good real life reference for that rather than needing a photo for it. But that's where I would start. Could I ink or glaze take it back? Always. You can always do that. It's never too late. Rarely too late. So I used a colour called Bogrim Brown. Games Workshop do one that is similar. I want to say it's Tau XV88 or something like that. They're both Tau names because of the old Tau colour scheme that Games Workshop used to do for everything. The kind of mustard yellowy brown and the white heads. So you can check for those. Obviously, P3 is great. I'll use it a lot. And Bogan Brown is the color I use for the base coat for my yellow as well. So in this case, it's got two really, really good uses for it. Petters! Hello, matey. But that's what I would do, just to take some of that white away. Otherwise, what you've done is decent. You could take some very thin version of whatever paint you end up using and do some like strikes across it to look like a scrape. Clearly, this is some sort of futuristic fighter. There's every chance that a knife blade has gone across it, or she's caught it on a rock, a piece of metal, whatever, something in the way. The rest of your mini is good though, man. I like the colours. Jade, purple as an accent is nice. Works well with the base. You've built up plenty of texture on what you've got going on there. The other thing to remember about wear. Jude the Wolf! Dude, good evening. Puddles of custard. Puddles of custard. Oh, good God. Yes. Yes. Yes, please give me that. Custard everywhere. I love custard. How you guys doing? Jude the Wolf, how is your stream? What are you up to this evening? We've been painting various elements of Custodes Dreadnoughts. So I'll show you what I'm doing. We're going through the whip gallery now because we're sort of winding up the stream over the next probably 15 to 20 minutes or so. So here is one of the Dreds that we've been working on. We've got 3 of these guys with sword and shield to do. There's a couple there. All of the airbrush work was done off stream, and that includes the swords. The swords, there's a guide on how to do these over on my Patreon. But we've done the things like gemstones. We've done eye lenses as well in the heads. Then we started highlighting the purple, and working predominantly on this bad man, the Telemon. Loving it. Loving it. Buy your dinner first. Haha, yeah. Let me make sure I'm giving Jude a follow. It's not a username I recognise, so possibly not. There we go. Followed. Everyone here, give him a follow. But anyway, Jude, if you are about and you want to share what you've been working on tonight, then please, by all means, do so. We have a Discord we're running through now, !whip. Go and post some pics. Matty Mikes, cheers for the follow. So, the other thing I was going to say with your bags, your pouches, your leatherware, things like that, work out which parts will be more warm than others. Going back to that example of a jacket, things like the cuffs we're wearing, because they bang on tables and so on. Elbows might be wearing, you know, but probably not getting much wear here. So, oh, okay, cool, that makes sense. On the holsters that I've done here, if we flick back again to the cam, you can see that this corner getting some wear because it protrudes. This bit getting some wear because the bolt gun gets put into the holster. And I imagine that while the Marine isn't like careless with his war gear, it's probably put in the heat of battle, perhaps, where he's just like jamming it in there, ready to punch somebody or chainsword somebody or throw a grenade or whatever. Equally, the other side of the opening here, that would be a place that naturally would get some wear. So think about wear on the individual elements of the thing you're working with. So in this case, bags, sword scabbard, pouches, knife sheath, all these things. Think about where that would have wear, because it probably isn't everywhere. Because if it's everywhere, it's probably fucked, and it's likely to be replaced soon. The other thing to think about along the same lines in a narrative aspect is, this works especially true in any kind of skirmish game, is all of her war gear or his war gear weathered, or is some of it new? Has she got a new bag? Has she got a new sword, and therefore the scabbard is also new? You know, you've got all these things that you can do, and you can just add more or less to things and create a narrative and a story for the miniatures that you've got, which I think is a really great thing about the hobby we have. The Drunk Mystic, all done, starting base next Saturday. He says, oh, here we go. Here we go. So he's been working on this for a while. This is that Chimera. Love those heads, mate. Loads of texture. Fucking epic work. It really needs that base, though, bro. It looks great apart from that. Ugh. It's a cool thought. New equipment. Yeah. Have you done a leather guide on Patreon? No. No, I haven't. Not yet. It's kind of a short video, if I'm honest. Lies. Shit, no, I didn't weather them. Damn it. Miniocalypse. Thank you for the follow. Yeah, there isn't a lot to painting leather at all. But the weathering process to it is something that just, you need that extra little bit of information to get to look right. I think the next time I do a marine video, so we normally do like the base armor on YouTube and then all the extra bits on Patreon. The next time we do a how to paint something like that, then probably we'll look at doing a little bit more in terms of weathering and so on to get them moving on. But the next one that I've got to do is Deathwing Terminators. They don't have a lot of leathery bits, so we'll see. Oils are good, but I wouldn't use oils for weathering leather at all. Or even painting leather, frankly. Swift Pixie, cheers for the follow. Welcome. I love this side. The other side is good, but this side is money. Absolute money. I love it. I want to have a closer look at the horns, though, on top of the wings. I think they need just a little bit more. If you take some of the bone color that you've got, not the final bone highlight, but the one just before it, and run that slightly further up the horn. Don't go all the way. It'll look weird. It'll look like a fucking stick of rock. But just go a little further up, just to build that in a little bit more, give it a little bit more contrast. I think you'd be doing yourself a favor with it. But otherwise, everything else here is really good, man. You've put the effort in, and it certainly shows. Right, Timmy Sprues. I'm planning on magnetizing the top so you can see inside. Oh, mate. This looks like my absolute worst nightmare. A fine line. A very fine line. Yeah. So, good brush. Thin that paint so it's nice. It just flows easily off the brush. That's super important. And just carefully draw those up. As someone that really dislikes miniature assembly, it's my least favorite part of the hobby. Looking at this and having to assemble the entirety of the track gives me, like, not anxiety or anything, but just, like, rage. Like, no! Smash the tank! Viking, haven't you got a Formula 1 car to put together? Haven't you got decals left to do? But this is a hell of a kit, though, mate. It's going to look epic when it's done. I have absolutely no doubt about that. I do have one gripe with this image, though. And it's the same gripe in this image, too. And you can probably guess what it is. I don't even know what that is. That could be a gun. I'm assuming gun of some sort. It's done and delivered yesterday. Nice, dude. Well done. My gripe is, why the fuck is your airbrush lead on your desk? This is a no. When your airbrush is clean, it goes like this on the side of your airbrush cup. It doesn't go like this, where dust and crap falls in here. It goes like that. Doesn't go on the side of your desk just chilling. What are you doing, you monkey? Crazy talk. Right, Madal with some Necrons. That's a big pile of Necrons. Is there a story behind those Necrons? No. That's a big pile of not very well loved Necrons, we'll say, in places. I see ones with no arms and so on. And would it kill you to wash your pallets? Would it kill you? You know. Just whip. Okay. Cool. That makes sense. This is nice. See, pink. Pink on minis. It works super well. Get your sunset red. Everyone buy this paint. You'd wash one. Okay, cool. I can see you've got a little highlight underneath that one on the main like spire behind him, and that's good. That's what we want to see on all of them. Because we talked about your OSL on the last stream. This is nice. Yeah, even those little dots you've got there on the upright bits of black stone, or purple stone in your case, they need to have that little thing. Speed of airbrush, is it worth? Become Dust, as a commission painter, as a hobbyist, I can 100... Flick! Bro! We're oh, God, we're wrapping up and my girlfriend's upstairs in bed. Big raid. Alright, we'll paint for a little bit longer after you've done the whip then. Not very much longer, but a little bit longer. How you guys doing? Bro, how is your stream? Good, solid raid. Very solid raid. Everyone, if you're not following Flick, I'm surprised because I raid him a lot. He's a good dude. He's a really good dude. For you guys that have just come in, tonight we've been working on Custodes Dreadnoughts. So here is a Telemon. You were not on whip. That was my chance. I was definitely on a whip. But here you go. Here's one of 7 Custodes Dreadnoughts that we're doing all in one go as a commission. We've got him down. We've been doing a little bit of the purple, so we just heighted up his rocket pack. We've got 3 Galatus Dreadnoughts. Looking sexy. Mate, the armor is nice, but the armor's had no highlights yet. That's tomorrow's job and the day after's job, I'd imagine, as well. Sish, take care. But we've got 3 of these that we're doing, and also at the same time 3 of these that we're doing as well. Now, there's a guide for the power swords and the same techniques applied to the spear over on Patreon. So if you want to know how to do that, then that's where you got to go. There's a guide on how to do the bases. You see, these bases are resin cast from Cybor. We've got these kind of Greek fallen statue heads. We've got these bits of like very intricate tiling with some OSL. There's a guide on what to do when the company you're buying the bases from doesn't make a base in that size. Also over on Patreon, because this was handmade. Bits of it were just bought and then like attached. Deep Game Spain, hey dude. But this was a base that we basically scratch built from other parts. And you can find the complete guide on how to do that and how to paint it over on YouTube, especially on YouTube. Spent most of the weekend trying eye paint for the first time with the hobby room. It was a blast, but loads more to do. I need to improve my speed. I saw, mate. I saw you in the stream. And we nearly raided that stream, but the chat wanted me to raid somebody that had less viewers. And you guys had like 150, so you were right out. But good for you, dude. Like, it looked like it was going to be a fun stream. Army painting is definitely something that I end up doing a lot of. Most of my commissions involve here's several boxes of toys. Please go paint. IR Good Spieler. That works so well. What a name. What a name. Need to find a cover of Spandau Ballet Gold to play. Always believe in your soul. And that's all you need. They're Custodes. They're nearly indestructible. Always believe in. Painted gold. Everyone leaves straight away. We're back to the whip. Ugliest. Cheers for the follow. What were you doing tonight? Anyway, Flick. What was your stream today? And also, how did that water pour, the resin that you were doing, work out? Very quick, great. Start my first army will be Drukari. Nice. Yeah, and on that bombshell. Viking, you couldn't unsub if you even wanted to. Grey Knights, nice. You fancy painting more and working on your army painting techniques? I've got 2,000 points of them behind me. You can give that a go. EJ Comics, thank you for the follow and welcome. 1 second, I shared a resin pick. Yes, get it in the whip, dude. And your Grey Knights, let's see them as well. Yeah, in the whip. You know my Discord. Get on it. Let's do it. Last pick. Oh, get in. Look at those. Big J? What? Throwing out the gift subs like there is no tomorrow. Big J Davis throws in 5 for Steve B65AU, Leaf Erickson 90, Stinger UK, MN Source, and Fazerna. 1 sec. I need the other monitor. Boom, that's that sorted. Dude, thank you very much. Let's get some love in the chat for this guy. Take me 2 days to get the silvers and bronze in. 2k points to them, yikes. Mrs. ain't getting any sleep from the hype, right? I mean, there's a reason I want to finish the stream. She ain't getting any sleep. Thank you very, very much, dude. Really, really appreciate it. Absolute legend. So, these are lovely, mate. Silent King is such a beautiful mini. I love what you've done here. I think you need to get some sort of OSL going on that snow, though. And I've just realised we're on that screen now. It's never embarrassing when that happens, I promise. Love the comment. Well, I'm glad, dude. This is why we do it, to help you. I've been here since Liam raided you 18 months ago. Still can't figure out how to leave. I don't think you actually leave even when we're not on air. Like, because before now, I've had the bot up because I've been changing commands and stuff, and you've been in the chat, exclamation point hype. Like, we're not live for 2 hours. What the fuck is he doing? It's a strange one. Yeah, I think you need a little bit of the glow on the bases. My bases, which is just dirt and things like that, have a little OSL because it's lightning, right? It's lightning. Yours is snow, which is by nature crystals. It is very reflective. And I think you just need that to sort of round the base out a little bit more. Because what you've done is absolutely awesome. And I love your Silent King. I love the pale king that you've got here. Really, really good. This is the Hotel California of Twitch. That was a song that was written about heroin addiction. And I can safely say that this is not like that. There's no needles involved. There's just addiction. That's all. Hey, no worries, dude. No worries. Right, Adeptus Social Media starting a Death Guard army, trying to get out of over edge heights and stuff. Plus, have you used dry brush? I don't use dry brush for years. Good. Don't do dry brush. You have dry brushed, haven't you? Yes. So you have used the dry brush, right? I've seen. You need to look up. Have you got Instagram? Don't do dry brush. I don't dry brush. Last year, I brought out a dry brush 4 times. All of those times were on stream. 2 of them were to show people the difference between a dry brush base and a non-dry brush base. I don't dry brush. I don't like the finish that it gives on a miniature at all. a kind of chalky, dusty finish. Now, in some situations, it can work. This, it's worked quite well because you've got armor that looks like it's pitted all over. Saris and Farishi33, thank you for the follows. If Adeptus Social Medias, you have Instagram, which is a form of social media, so I feel that by your username, you should have it. Go and check out Elroy, E-L-R-O-I. It's a guy called Roy Gonzalez. Rorca 101, cheers for the follow, bro. Roy is a painter that does not edge highlight. He stipples and he dry brushes. He uses makeup brushes for dry brushing, by the way. And Roy has painted the best Ghazghkull Thraka I've ever seen. He's painted some Death Guard that are also in the same dry brush kind of very soft way. Go and check out his Instagram and look those up because they are a very different style of painting to most people's, and they're something else. That man has this fucking crazy eye for detail and for color, and also for a narrative way of guiding you around a miniature. Like, he understands things like pathing, which is something that I try and put into my miniatures, and he's done a great little video on YouTube about that with his Ghazghkull, really highlighting it. He's a very, very clever dude. I met him at No Retreat 9. He won a couple of prizes there. He won all of the prizes, apparently, at No Retreat 8. So, he's a fucking great painter. I like this, though, man. Good job. I'm not really a dry brush guy on this armor. It kind of works because, like I said, it looks pitted, it looks nasty and worn rather than being bright and shiny and so on. The one thing that I think you should probably work on a little bit with this is the verdigris. Verdigris is something that I will be doing a tutorial on at some point soon because we've got the Lord of Virulence to paint this month. There was a giveaway from last month. We're painting him in the old school Death Guard colours, so there will be a lot of like metallic trim, and I will be doing verdigris. What you've done here is the right choice, which is to take the Lilac Oxide paint and use something else instead, because that stuff's absolute shit. You've taken a blue. I feel at some points, though, your blue here is a little too stark and comes out of nowhere, and it's like a start and a stop, and it doesn't work its way in. If you look at the knee on the right hand side of the miniature, underneath the knee pad down where the trim is there, it's just like a block of blue, and that's not ideal. However, the bit you've got up on the shoulder pad on the same side, that looks great, just around the rivet there. The way it builds in quickly but still has that build. Jay, Mask Sark's mini Asteroid compressor will be okay as a start compressor. I assume we go for 60 quid. Sparmax is usually good. If it's 60 quid, what's wrong with it? Is it second hand? I would look into the providence of that. Dax, doing well, dude. How are you? If it's second hand, if it's eBay and it's like item description new and stuff like that, great. If it's not, then maybe have a conversation with the seller. Why are you selling it? Does it make a lot of noise? Does it make the same noise it did when you started with it? And so on. I'd be very, very cautious with that. Right, Meaty Hooks. D. McCarran. Mate, these things are absolute boss level in 40k right now. Slightly tipsy, but good. You'll be fine, dude. Obviously blocking out base colors at the moment. Got plenty to do, man. Got plenty to do. The Forge World resin Tyranid stuff is not fun to paint, but at least it's not meant to have flat surfaces, is all I can say for it, you know. Good luck, dude. Good luck. Landed a proxy. Absolutely not. Nivea, started working on something that shouldn't need censoring, just blocking in the ideas. Nice. Wraith Guard or Wraith Blades? That's the question, isn't it? Axes or guns? They're nice though, mate. I like it. I still like your colour scheme. The darker one you've got in the middle, I really like it, but it does need a little bit smoothing out. But I like it slightly darker. Looks like guard. Yeah, definitely. I want to put the resident in whip. It's technically done. Yeah, definitely, dude. Yeah. Go for it. The whip gallery is for not just work in progress stuff, but also stuff that is like just finished and just want to show us one off. Progression. So early miniature, mid miniature, current miniature. Big changes, man. Big changes. However, one thing has gotten worse over time, which is unusual. Normally things progress in a positive and upwards fashion, but I have noticed one thing that has gotten significantly worse. The first two miniatures there have black base rims, and your third miniature has the incorrect base rim color. It's not black. I mean, why'd you even bother, bro? Had you for a second. The rest of the chat knew. Maddle, well done, bro. Thank you. Crazy Yank, still working on that ghost keel. Right. If you glazed a load of yellow into this, is it whatever that is in the background? Triggered. Definitely triggered. Sorry, my cat's being weird. I have to make black base rim feedback and go back to brown afterwards. No, just don't go. No, once you go black, you never go back. The base rims have got to be black. You see it better from the other side. Yeah, you have, haven't you? You've applied a filter over this. What is it you're using, dude? It looks like a really, really thin yellow tinted glaze. And it stopped it from being flat, which is kind of what it was earlier on. Oh, you're doing enamels. Okay. I've never played with them. The only enamel paint I ever used, I was like 5 years old, putting together an Airfix plane, and my old man and me were painting it. And I remember putting down some painting, and right, you've got to leave that for 3 hours to dry. And I'm like, and then I started with Citadel paints when I was 8, and like, cool, I've done it, and now it's dry. Like, well, I guess we're never using enamel paint again. SJ, great stream as always, he says. Thank you, bro. Thank you. Accuracy is 1, 2, 3, 4, 50%. 50% accuracy. Go with oils and wait 3 days for it to still be wet. Technically speaking, oils, depending on how good they are, won't actually be fully dry, like fully evaporated and dry for 50 years. But I use a fuckload of thinner, and mine are dry in hours. So, yeah, looking tasty, man. I like it. It's really changed everything a lot. I know a few people that do enamel washing and enamel weathering and things like that, and it's something that I want to look into because I do it a lot with oils. I love oil washes and stuff. Good, Des. I'm glad. But yeah, it's not something I've ever spent time looking into. All right, Cake Fisk. Working on these. Might have to redo the armor bits because GW Shade got blotchy. Oh. Okay. I mean, I like what you're doing, mate. Your power weapons need slightly thinner highlights on the one on the right hand side there, but I think we've said that before. Nice, dude. Well, I'm looking forward to seeing it more. I really want to see your progression because I'm interested in the technique. So seeing how you get on with it, you know, is really, really key for me. It is hard, mate. It definitely is. You're on Patreon. Have a look at the sword tutorial to see how I did it on there, because it's a similar concept, right? So use the same techniques there to guide you through this one. It's one of those things that is tough, but it does get easier the more you do it, and it's just practice. Same as most things, it just takes some time and, you know, get on with it. One thing I will say is that obviously brush control, as always, is two parts. One part is the manual control of the brush. The second part is of course making sure your paint is the right consistency. So thin the paint a little bit more. If you get jagged lines when you're highlighting, it's just like fuzzy around both edges, it's almost always because your paint is slightly too thick, and it's sort of being pulled off the brush in lumps rather than just gradually and evenly flowing from your bristles. So anytime you start to see that manifest itself in your miniatures, thin your paint a little bit more. I always keep just some water from a little dropper bottle on my palette almost every time before I pick up the paint. My brush just touches that water, literally just touches it, and then goes into the paint and then paints. That way I'm always guaranteed to have nice thin paint with that very fine control. So, silly question. For practical purposes, should I just buy more Warhammer considering that's what I want to paint? Yes. End of the day, a lot of people say to practice airbrushing, buy some plastic spoons and practice your gradients. That's great. And after you've painted 50 spoons, you'll be an expert at painting spoons. So for spoon hammer, yeah, just buy more toys. Don't strip your minis either. Like, keep the old ones and work up, and you'll see progression. It'll be gradual because what we do isn't necessarily hard in a way that it's complicated. It's almost not ever complicated. There are times, very few times, with very advanced techniques that it is. But there are also times where it's just thin your paint, do a highlight, do a glaze, do a shadow, done. That's exactly how to paint a miniature in a sentence, you know. So just paint some toys. Work on the fundamentals, you know. Get your highlights, get your shadows, get some contrast. Make sure there's no mold lines. That's the killer. No mold lines. All these things. Then you'll work up, and eventually you'll have models that everyone's looking at going, how the fuck did you do that? And, you know, it takes time. I've been painting for more than 20 years. I've been a commission painter for... I will be soon entering my 5th year. In July, 5 years of being a commission painter. And I've probably spent in my life maybe 8 years really focusing on getting good at painting, and the rest was just like, I got my shit to the table, what more do you want? So it takes time. Swift Pixie, my first ever miniature, 1 of 11 sisters, loving it, the addiction begins. Yes. Zaman86, cheers for the follow. Like it. Really classic red and black. Big fan. Nice work on the red. I'm not 100% sold on the lipstick. I feel like she's about to say, why so serious? I feel like that's about to come out, but mate, I know Mercy's upstairs in bed waiting as well, so I really want to get through the whip, but I can't not give real feedback. I would maybe tone it down. If you're going to go with lipstick, then just wind it back a little bit. Go with much more sort of neutral shades than like a in-your-face super red, you know? Adding in some pink to the skin tone, sure, that's an option. But if you want something that is very pale, kind of alabaster skin, you know, this is fine. Maybe you could do like a. I would go with a darker red because it would be too much of a stark contrast. But maybe just go a little bit more like standard flesh tone with a hint of warmth than the sort of thing you'd see on a like Hollywood starlet or something. That's the only part of this that I'm not sold on. Everything else you've done really quite well. Like, base is basic, but it's a standard rank and file person, so, you know, no issues there. Eyes are tricky. Eyes are very tricky. Google nude lipstick colors. Zombies, are we going to get some, like, I Googled this, and I did it on a work computer, and now I'm fired results from that? Also, have we had a shout out for zombies yet? Come on, mods. Chop to it. She's great. Everyone should follow her. Mr. D. Oh, here we go. Here we go. Ruining the whip for everybody else. Legit. Nude means a more natural tone. Okay. Now I know. More freehand goodness. Get out. So this is my buddy Damien, who is the newest recruit for the Heavy Metal Specialist Games team. Because he's really fucking good at playing with a brush. He does, unfortunately, paint in the heavy metal painting style, so while this is great, the highlights you've done on the arm, I can't back that at all. Fuck me sideways, dude. Great job. Great job. And the eagle-eyed among you will notice that this is one of several freehands that he's got going on here. I'll tell you what, bro. How about you come down for a day when we're allowed? I'll let you beat me at 40k. I'll cook you more like pescatarian pizza. And you teach me how to properly freehand skulls, because I want to do skulls. Don't recognize the model. You won't recognize the model. You will not recognize the model. And that's not because it's not released. We have to kind of think about that a little bit. There's the model's backpack. Let's just show this off. You know how sometimes it's kind of hard to paint a freehand because you haven't got enough space? When you're painting a freehand on a free-flowing curved surface that's also at a funny angle, to quote Snatch, I feel that's taking it from, like, hurt me plenty to nightmare level. Adept of Social Medias nailed it. It's a Disco Lord. Did you stalk him on social media for that one? Yeah. Good work, dude. Good work. My face when I realised he ain't decals. Yeah, I know, right? I know. Although, if I'm honest, the best way to freehand a skull, and I said this to somebody the other day and they were like, you fucking what? And then realised what the deal was, is to take a transfer of a skull, a decal, put it on the Mini, and then paint over it. You know? Yeah, fucking great work, as always, Damo. Let me show you the Mini, because it's worth looking at. Soul Penny Collection. Good for you. That's the mount for it. Not bad, right? I do hope all of the brass or bronze is going to be non-metallic metal. Alright? You can't let us down on this. That is the cutest dog ever. good old pack. But here is some of the other work that he's done for this army. And that's pretty fucking special, isn't it? You know? That's some solid work. Really, really solid work. Alright, Dax. Speaking of solid work. Dude. That is really genuinely lovely. You've managed to capture like a wistful kind of emotion in her face, which is really, really pretty. Nice shading. Really, really nice shading. I like the dark shadow that you've got there on her cheek. That's fucking great. Smashing follow button, most you for the dog. I hate you for the painting. Space Marine ripped in half, yes. Cheers, G. I can tell you're drunk. It looks like it, mate. She looks a little bit like an actress. If she ate more than 3 lettuce leaves a day, it looks a little Kate Moss kind of looking. Very nice. Very, very nice. That side needs a little work. So the other side, like, crushed it. Yeah, like, dickhead. That looks really, really good. But from here, you can see the line under the chin at the back, the lower mandible. That's very much like, here was one color, there's the other color. You need to, like, blend those through. Cameron Diaz. I can see Cameron Diaz in that. Yeah. Something About Mary era. Cameron Diaz. Looks good though, man. Keep it up. Keep it up. Right, Flickster. So here's the water pour that he did, which was UV drying resin. He did this on stream. He'd never done it before. And was giving it a go for the first time. So, lovely miniature. This was a commission that was old, I think I remember you saying. But there's the resin. Let's go hunting bubbles. Mate, that's come out really well. Really, really well. I like it. Fucking solid stuff, dude. You ended up with some resin on the grasses and stuff like that, but it doesn't look too bad. It looks all in scale. I think you've done very, very well with it. Is it ever so slightly yellow, or is it just the lighting and the sort of yellow reeds and stuff that we've got that's providing that? Oh, look at not Mikey resin. Yeah, yeah, for sure. Nah, brilliant work. This is a very fox-themed miniature. I remember you talking about that on stream. So you got like fox leggings and all that sort of stuff going on. Beautiful work, mate. Although, it fucking should be. You've been working on that for a year and a half. I know, I've got the same stuff. So, I've had this since I did the Nurgle Demon stream. I did 90 Nurgle Demons plus Nurglings and some other stuff in a weekend. Those guys. And I found it was really good, but it takes forever to dry. So, if I'm doing something that just requires like a little bit, I use this green stuff, world stuff, and that is good. If you need to like instantly set, that's the way. If you need it for anything else, it's the other stuff, and let it bake. And if anyone ever does an army full of stuff with water effects on bases, I can strongly suggest you pop on Amazon and buy yourself one of these. This is the kind of thing that ladies go and get their nails done, and they kind of bake their hands under. Right, nail salons use these. and it just plugs into a little DC adapter, and away you go. Crazy yanked. Peace. And I basically set up like a baking station where I'd slide minis under that and then work here and then like swap in and out and cook resin and do this and cook resin and do this. So if you've got a lot of minis to do, that's a really good tip for that one. Don't worry about the branding at all. I'm going to have to call this one from Dax the end one. Thick Oz, finished the base cut and done a bit of blending on the armor plates. Plans to do some freehand work based off Samurai Bushido art because I love that part of history. Nice. Nalindi! How you doing, babe? Bought for setting 3D prints. That'll do. What sort of clearance does it have? Well, I use shot glasses to mount my miniatures. And so, that much, I guessed, at the time. And you just, like, put a few of these out and you're good to go. So as much as you like. How's it going now? We're wrapping up. It's late AF. I told my girlfriend to be done by midnight. It's 1:15. But hey, I didn't finish early, and that's important. Oh, shit. Right, so this is the inspiration. That's a tiny-ass picture. It didn't change size. Nail bacon on shot glass stilts. That's so you. Yes, bro. Ghetto hobby for life. Right, let's look at this one. Nice. Very soft. Yeah, I like that. Yeah, there's still a transition, but it's a short transition. We talk about that in the Patreon video on swords, how you can change the length of transitions to vastly alter how your final miniature will look. You still have that transition, but it can be as long or short as you want it. Let's take another check out on this. See, look at it. You still have that moving through. Solid. Very nice, mate. Very nice. Right, let's look at this. Seb, that's pretty good. That is pretty good. Not bad at all, bro. The little cracks in the skull is what makes that for me. Absolutely what nails it. Yeah, you've got it spot on. Nice stuff. I'm impressed. Very impressed. Quote of the month. Oh dear. Was that the one that I just said? Hey, I didn't finish early. Yes, it is. Right, nice one, guys. Thank you to everyone that rated. That's Hellstorm Wargaming, the PlayStation guy whose name I've completely forgotten, and of course Flick. Much love, brother. So again, we worked a bit on some Custodes. We've taken the heads back off because we painted the eye lenses and things like that on stream. Quick tutorial on how to do those. Obviously, swords are on Patreon. Bases are on YouTube. And the same logic that we use for the swords is applied to the spears here, which, as you can see, look amazing. Absolutely amazing. Big fan of how all this is shaping up. I'm hoping to have all of these finished by Wednesday, because on Wednesday I want to film a tutorial on object source lighting. So if we flick this guy round, that's the back of him. Here's the previous commission work that we did, and all of these guys have OSL glowing back vents. Now we're going to do exactly the same on the Dreadnoughts to tie all of them up together. So Friday's YouTube video, so do subscribe on YouTube, !YouTube, will be a intermediate level OSL guide for this. If anyone wanted a simple OSL guide, all of these elements of object source lighting on the base, you can see there's some on the older models from the previous commission as well. were done when we did the tutorial video for this guy, which was last week's YouTube video. So you've got this very simple OSL tutorial to go and follow. We're doing an intermediate one, excuse me, for things like events, showcase how you can do it, and just to get a little bit further. Right, it's raid time. I know a lot of you are off to bed now, but let's at least go and say hi to somebody. Who do we like out of this list of people? Petters, Nalindy, cheers guys. I'll tell you what, we're going to go to see what this guy's painting. I've got an advert for Sky Broadband, brilliant. That's the last thing I need. This guy's not got many people in stream tonight. Oh, go on, fuck off with the minions, no one cares. SJ! Thank you, bro. Become Dust. Please do, Matt. Especially with Patreon. Jude the Wolf. Cheers, Des. That's a very out of focus shot, so we're actually not going there. Haven't raided this guy in a while, so gonna go to Jack Club's painting, who's painting some Dark Angels. Everyone say hello and then leave. It's all good. Adept to social medias, same here, man. Nice to meet you. Thanks for dropping by and sticking around with that raid. Alright, 104, 111, 112. Alright, that's it. 13, 113. I like number 13. So tomorrow night is Hellstorm stream at 6 p.m. I will see you guys on Tuesday night here, otherwise at 9 BST. Bullshit time. There we go, that's what we're doing. Peace, everyone. Have a good one.